The WTF Forum is a decentralized broadcast network with no governing body of any kind and is produced and distributed by a loosely affiliated, ever-growing network of rogue, independent content creators. This forum does not, will not, and shall not have any one location, RSS feed, platform, or channel, but shall be shared and multiplied as nature dictates.
Welcome to the WTF Forum. The hosts do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. Opinions are their own. This broadcast contains foul language and dangerous ideas. If you need a trigger warning, you are in the wrong place. Now enjoy the show.
Can't we all just get along?
At the Red House Furniture,
We can.
At the Red House.
I'm Richard, aka Big Head. I work at the Red House and I'm black.
At the Red
I
House.
like pumping iron and pumping furniture into people's homes.
I'm Johnny, aka T-Engage. I work at the Red House and I'm white. I like deer hunting, bass fishing, and extending credit to all people.
At the Red House.
I'm black and I love the Red House.
I'm white and I love the Red House.
I'm a black woman and I love the Red House.
I am white and the Red House is for me.
At the Red House.
Look at the sofa. It's perfect for a black person or a white person.
This mattress is perfect for a white person or a black person.
At the Red House, where black people and white people buy furniture.
And Hispanic people too.
And all people.
Good job.
Well, welcome to all people to the WTF Forum. What is up? I am Mike the Polymath, and I had my balls cut off last week. It was a big decision, but I went ahead on the advice of my good doctor, and I'm happy with my decision. I'm going to pass it over to my good friend, Stella Q.
Hello, I am Stella Q from, well, I'm a Sheila from Down Under, but I recently had a dick sewn on my pussy, and now I sound a little different. And I'll pass it over to my good friend, Ando.
What's up, Ando from Burn Babylon Burn and the Doom Kitchen, passing it over to my Aunt Laura.
Oh, we have a technical problem,
Thumbs
Laura.
up. Technical
Mic doesn't
issue.
seem to be connected.
Cannot hear you, Laura.
Actually, the mic is connected. Just try pulling your mic out and put it back in again. It sounds like a dirty connection to me.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Maybe we'll
pull it
hear
out and put
from-
it back in.
Maybe we'll hear from our old friend,
Yeah.
Jared from Limited Supply Designs.
Good timing for a burp, right? Howdy, y'all. Been a minute. Been 11 months since I've been here. How we doing?
Good,
Good to
man.
meet
You are glowing like a son of a bitch right now.
I know we got less than 10 minutes before the sun's behind the trees. I'm still never gonna get over how late time-wise it stays bright here, being so far west in Eastern time.
Yeah.
Where's an eclipse when you need one?
I know.
Yeah, man. You're like a cat in a sunbeam over there.
I know. Give it probably 2 or 3 minutes. The sun will be behind the trees enough that I will have a feature to my face. One feature.
You know you made it when you got glowies.
I had to open my mouth to be seen.
Yeah. You look like the abominable snowman right now.
The adorable snowman.
All right, let's check in. Laura, can we hear you?
I don't know. Can you hear me yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, there we
we
go.
have contact.
Coming in loud and clear.
It was a dirty
A
connection.
Debbie sound.
Like
Mhm.
Stella. I mean, Mike the polymath said.
Thank you.
You know, Stella came up with that gag all on her own, and I said, "Hell yeah, let's do it."
Y'all are crazy. Crazy people.
Crazy is my middle name.
Well, nothing's off limits on the forum, y'all. Glad to have
Not at all.
you on, Laura. I have been listening to many of your ramblings, rants, raves, whatever you want to call them, with Ando, and really interesting stuff you guys have been talking about. I gotta say, I'm not fully caught up, but very cool stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the main thing, I think the main one that most people are really liking is the Serpent Seed series, where it's a series. I didn't expect for it to go that long. It ended up being 7 parts, and but it takes you through from the Bible, from Genesis all the way up to present day, and who the serpent seed is, and how they're running our world now.
Now?
That's it in
No.
a nutshell.
Yeah.
But it's all there. It's all in the Word. It's all there.
It's been an excellent series. I'd like to recommend that, actually. Not that I'm, I don't have any affiliation apart from spiritual
I am
sister.
building a website, and it will be done hopefully tomorrow. And I'll have that series on there, and it's called cleansingthebloodline.com. Cleansingthebloodline.com.
You know, Laura,
Excellent.
I ordered your book. What is it?
Thank you.
Roots of Antiquity. Is that what it is?
Roots of Iniquity. Mhm.
Iniquity, not antiquity.
That's it.
Iniquity.
There you go.
I hate to say I have yet to crack it open, but I do have it sitting on my bookshelf.
Okay, well, it's going to be an eye opener for you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what iniquity means is, because it's everywhere in the Bible, but no churches really talk about it. Iniquity is sin, compounded sin from generation to generation. So like when a homosexual says, well, I was born that way, they really were. A lot of them really were, especially the ones that are playing with Barbie dolls and putting on tutus and acting like a girl. They really were born that way. It's called iniquity. Their error is in thinking that that's the way God wants them just because they were born that way. So all of us are born we're bent with certain iniquities in our bloodline, like violence or homosexuality or all kinds of sexual immorality. I mean, there's a lot of those in there, but anything that you're bent that way, you're like, for me, it was witchcraft. I was bent that way already. I thought, I didn't know that it was bad. I didn't know that it was witchcraft. I was just geared that way to seek it out. If I went to the Renaissance Festival, the first place I ran was over to the fortune teller. That's, I thought that stuff was cool. And I would call the psychic hotline. I thought that was cool. I played with Ouija boards. I thought that was neat. I was just bent that way. And not everybody is that way. I was just already bent that way because of that iniquity that was in my bloodline until I got rid of it.
You know, it's if I may, real quick, it's funny. I just came from spending like 4-5 nights at my sister's house, building them a garden. And her and I had a really interesting chat at one point about sort of our generational baggage. And her and I are both very much trying to do the work to figure that out. And I think that's kind of what you're describing. Just to be blunt, like, I think my family suffers from a focus on materialism to a great extent. And we're very much trying to break that cycle. And there's other things, but anxiety, substances, all kinds of things. But it really does require like a focused effort to break those patterns, if you will. Like, you could call it inherited sin, or you could call it like bad habits. I don't know, like same.
They do. They develop into habits, and it just becomes the norm in your family. And then people say things like, yeah, my grandma was like that, and my mom was like that, and I'm like that, and that's just how I am. But it's not how you really are. It is how you are bent. You are bent that way. And you can, if you're a Christian, first you have to sign up to be a citizen of the, the kingdom of light, so that you have the power to counter the forces that are compelling you to act that way in the first place. And as long as you're a Christian, you can repent, put the sin under the blood of Jesus. So, like, let's take the one that you're talking about, materialism. You can call it materialism. You can call it vanity, and you can repent, and just confess it, because in 1 John 1:9 it says, God says, if you will confess it, I will forgive you and wash you clean. So the first thing you do is you confess it, and y'all right now you and your sister are identifying it. So you're in the middle, you're in the identification stage. So you figure out what it is. Okay, so this is a spirit of vanity, a spirit of materialism that's really strong in our bloodline. So we confess it as sin, we repent for it, we renounce it, and we put it under the blood of Jesus, which is the remedy. There's the remedy. Okay, now you have authority to cast that spirit out of you and break the influence off of you, and it no longer has a right. It is a spirit, and they have legal rights to us, either through us opening the door, or our ancestors opening the door, or oaths and vows that were taken by our ancestors or by ourselves, like Freemason oaths, or even an inner oath, or anything that you've taken in an inner vow to yourself. Like if you got really hurt and you say, I will never, ever, ever, ever let another man hurt me again. And then you can't figure out 10 years later why you can't ever find anybody and why your relationships don't last. It's because you made an oath, you made a vow, and you need to renounce it. You need to break it. So words matter, and oaths matter, and oaths are binding, and anything that's bound in the earth is also bound in heaven. And you bind God even from helping you because of the choices you made or because of the choices your ancestors made. And it tells you in the Bible that the iniquity, which is what my book is about, the iniquity of the fathers goes up to the third. God says, I will visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the sons up to the third and the fourth generation. So as long as that spirit can gain a foothold in your bloodline, in your generation, they can go another 3 or 4 generations. So they just keep on going 3 or 4 generations to where they are in family bloodlines for hundreds of years. And yeah, you could call that a habit, but there is an influence behind it, a spiritual influence that's behind it. So that's what I teach on, spiritual law and how it works, because the Bible says, my people perish due to a lack of knowledge. And so a lack of knowledge of what? A lack of knowledge of how things really work. And that's what I teach people on.
Yeah, wow. It's interesting. In Australia, we have a saying that we just say without even really thinking twice about it. Oh, bloody oath, bloody oath.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. That it's funny. I used to be in a duo, and we called ourselves the Remedy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. But I must say, in my Christian years, which has been, over a period of time, and I, not the perfect Christian, but there isn't one.
Yeah, there's not one.
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled with all sorts of things, from addictions to, just like you said, like the magnetism towards veering towards certain things that you later find out are actually quite nefarious or harmful, but you innocently sucked in. And my experience has been sort of, you come across some Christians who, they say they had this powerful overnight, boom thing happen. And it's like, oh, good for you. Wish it would happen to me. But then I do find sometimes that in time, when you pray about something that, help with something, help to desist or help whatever it may be, that I look back over a period of time and go, oh, wow, it's actually been quite a long time since I've even thought about that thing. And it's like this gradual, the desire just gets killed, which is exactly what you want. So yeah, just things. I mean, I used to be so drawn to the yeah, the mystical stuff, I'd be straight into a crystal shop and all that sort of. Not, I still love crystals, and I still have crystals, but I don't use them in the same way. So,
Right.
I think they're a beautiful creation of God now. Really, I mean, they always
Mhm.
have been, but very powerful as well. So, but yeah, it's just a gradual dropping off sometimes. So I'm just sort of, I guess what I'm saying is, some people out there, they're kind of waiting for this thing to happen, but sometimes it's not that way. It's a very gradual process, and you can see it in time, but persist. Prayer.
No, you're right, Stella. I think that is what people are looking for, this powerful change, and it can happen. And I have heard of it happening for like someone who's on heroin, and there's no other way to get out of their situation other than an abrupt deliverance from the Lord, because they're crying out and begging Him to save them, and they come off of heroin without even needing to gradually come off, and they have a complete transformation, or they have an encounter with the Lord. But the majority of people, it doesn't go that way with them. They have a relationship with the Lord that is just like you said. You see the changes in your life when you kind of, hindsight is 2020. You kind of look back and go, wow, how long has it been since I did that? And you don't realize, and then you remember, oh yeah, I talked to the Lord about that, and I asked Him to help me come out of that. And then they realize 3 months later that it's way less, or it's gone. So it is a gradual thing, but the only way to really, really and truly grow your relationship with the true Jesus is to read the Word, because He is the Word. It says that. So otherwise, people that go, look, Laura, okay, you've got your Jesus and I've got my Jesus, and my Jesus is this way and that way and da da da. They literally have a relationship with a false Jesus, because it's not the Jesus of the Bible, and they're believing things that are completely contrary to Scripture. So how would you know if you have a relationship with the true Jesus unless you're reading the Word? That's the only way you would know. Otherwise, you're believing anything any demon can come and tell you that he's Jesus.
Tossed around in the waves. One of the reasons that I was really interested to have you come back, Laura, was because I realized all that great big hype about the eclipse. And then last show, we didn't even mention it. So,
yes.
and I haven't really heard, that was it was like a tsunami, wasn't it? And then just this nothingness.
Wait, didn't I say I don't think anything's going to happen?
Well, yes. Very prophetic.
Well done, Ando.
Evergreen, one may say.
Yeah. I think we all kind of concluded, we kind of came to that conclusion, but at the end of the show, that it's just an eclipse. But it was also about the hype that had been, fanned by the typical usual suspects, bloody propaganda.
Right. Whenever you start to see something being hyped by those people, you know that there's something a little more to it. It was the firing up of CERN was kind of weird,
Any fallout from that, like as informationally wise?
Well, whenever it was fired up, the guy who came up with the concept of the God particle died. Boson, I believe.
Whoa.
Yeah, he died right whenever the CERN thing was going on, and that was wacky. But
yeah, that's what they tell us.
Yeah, were they sending his soul somewhere?
Beamed up. Scotty beamed him up.
Beamed him out to where he belongs. Yeah, but and the guy. Okay, so the guy is such a staunch atheist that whenever they named it the God particle, which is blasphemous anyway, he was so upset about it because he didn't like the name of it being associated with God. Like, he's that much of an atheist.
Should have been struck down by lightning in that very moment.
I mean, maybe he got sucked up by CERN. But I mean,
that's the epitaph.
None of our concern at this point. What's going on with that guy is,
but
it's not our issue.
Imagine that on your gravestone. Sucked up by CERN. He was a good man.
Did
Yeah,
you guys
wow.
hear anything about? I saw some videos of people that were saying that that was not the moon that covered the sun. One guy even showed on a video, he said, wait, what the hell? And it's literally happening. I mean, the eclipse is literally going across the sun, and he pans his phone over to the other part of the sky, and he says the moon is right there. It's in the daytime. You can see the moon.
You know, Laura, I believe I saw that same video.
Yeah.
And it struck me as what Stella might call burly. Is that the word?
Yes, very
burly,
good.
as in chum, as in you know,
what does that mean?
Fodder, like
bullshit.
Bullshit. But
bullshit. Okay, got it.
But they throw it out to attract fish, you know.
Yeah. So it's bullshit with a purpose, and
okay.
So I'm pretty sure that video, just the way it was, seemed like very easily edited. You know, the panning across the sky happened so quick. I'm like, that could have been spliced. Like
I was gonna say, I haven't seen this video yet, but I've seen such good like ghost videos, ghost hunting stuff. Anytime that there's all black screen, a year could have gone by until the next shot.
Yeah, and just a real quick dissolve. Most people are not going to pick that up, like a full frame dissolve or something. Especially if something's being panned and there's a bit of movement. Like, it's very hard to pick that stuff up. The other thing is too that, Laura, when you mentioned that to me, that some people had seen various things like that, anomalies, often they are lens flares as well, that people sort of don't quite realize happen in a they even happen in a camera phone. More so in like a long lens, but I've got photos and video footage and the time lapse even of, you know, it looks just like there's two moons rising, but it's because of my lens flare. So that's another thing to keep in mind. It can be quite deceptive, and it can look quite clearly like another moon.
Well, and I remember, like, as the eclipse thing, you know, and throughout that day, like observing the eclipse and then going home afterwards and being like, yeah, you know, that was cool, but like, the world's still here. Nothing blew up as far as I know. It really kind of got me wondering, like, are people just putting out bullshit for clicks? I mean, you know, like, I think generally that's probably the case, but like, I think there's become this new industry, right, of playing into people's fears and conspiracies and chucking burly into the water, right?
Yeah, it's called
chumming the water with more bullshit.
Yep. We may have a special little segment happening fairly shortly, which that's exactly pretty much what we're going to cover. So we might put a little pause on that moment.
Are you saying that the WTF Forum has a way of talking in a big wide circle? I never noticed. I love it. I love it.
It's ovalic, but yes. I
will
just made up a word.
For everyone's knowledge, me Stella Q with a dick, I did no preparation for this show. Mike the Polymath is the one guiding us today, so I will probably try to shut my mouth more often than not.
No. This is a group effort. We are all equal here. There's no judgment, except Laura's now disappeared. Oh no, she'll be back. But yes. So I was just going to do a little bit of a follow up with the eclipse, and I think it's important as well to remember that there were some extraordinary coincidences, if you want to call them that, coincidences, because there was the path of totalitarianism, which it did have a cross. It did have a cross from the 2017 one, and there was that incredible mathematics, the palindromic mathematics, between the 2020 eclipse, the 2017 eclipse, and the one recently. That was exactly, what was it, 11 days, or 20, whatever it was, 24/12, I think it was, on either side. It was exactly in the middle of the eclipse. Now, I guess that is a bit strange.
Wasn't there a pattern that's being drawn by these eclipsi? You know, I'm trying to make eclipses plural, eclipsi. But a pattern being drawn, and it's this beautiful geometric pattern.
I'll throw
I have a photo of that actually.
I'll throw
It's
another
just cyclic.
bit of a weird one out there. Near, like, the nearest big city to my hometown is Carbondale, Illinois, famously like a home of Buckminster Fuller, and that was the ground zero point of both eclipses that crossed the
Yep.
U.S. NASA was set up there, both events. NASA's going to do what NASA's going to do, but
NASA's going to NASA.
Well,
yeah,
where was the intersection point with the recent one and the previous one? Wasn't it down like around Houston, Texas, or so? No. Oh, it was a little north of that.
Northeast was.
It was Carbondale.
Yeah, that was 2017 and 24 was Carbondale.
Oh, damn!
A lot of people claiming it, but
wow.
Yep.
The one you're talking about, Mike, is it was the one in 2023, and that was right by San Antonio. They had another one.
That must explain why you glow, Jared.
The secret's been spilled. It's funny the way the shadows are working right now. The trees are doing a piss poor job of blocking the light.
They really are, aren't they?
Yeah, the sun's it's a powerful ball of light.
Keep making excuses, brother. We just know you glow.
If I raise my arms, you can see my face.
Yeah, just do the rest of the podcast like that. Yeah.
Is your microwave leaking?
I hope not.
Oh, that's good.
So has anybody seen any zombie fungus cicada face-eating horror movie sex bot insects coming out?
I drove through Illinois and Ohio and Indiana the other day, and I did not hit a single cicada. Let's call it.
We've seen just a couple here so far.
They only just emerged. Okay, they're not yet mature, and they're not yet shedding their skins. That's when you start seeing them and noticing them.
They're not hitting my windscreen.
Right.
Yeah, that'll do it on that much windshield.
No, they're little guys right now, but when you start hearing them, that's when you know they're out there. They start making their little rattle.
Yeah, we just saw a few in the fall. I haven't seen them since it got cold the first time.
Yeah, there was.
I love the sound.
That was another one of the propagandary, things. They were saying that these 2 mass exoduses of cicadas were going to rise up out of the ground and eat your face.
It might turn into a plague of locusts, but it'll be like July and August.
They're not locusts. Though.
Yeah, let's say they're not springy. They're not springy boys.
Well, locusts are like a grasshopper that's overly mature, right?
No,
like
I don't think they're related.
Grasshoppers.
I'm simply speaking in biblical terms.
Exactly. People are saying that though because
they're similar. They're similar in anatomy to a grasshopper.
Yeah,
they're just visually speaking.
Yeah,
a cicada
vaguely.
doesn't think so.
Say what?
A cicada doesn't think so.
No, yeah, they take offense to that shit.
Yeah. Their pronouns are
sick,
rattle. I don't know.
Sick.
Yeah. No, they make a funny sound, and I really like it. It kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah, it's a nice sound.
They kind of just hum. It's good white noise.
I actually encourage you to get a app that measures dB, like decibel levels, this spring, and it's amazing how loud they get. Like up to 100. I had them over 100 where I used to live.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say, taking in a whole new area, even though it's just a few hours from where I grew up, and getting used to the local fauna, we've found a new favorite bird in the area. I believe that it's called a brown-headed cowbird, and its sound is like a drop of water.
Yeah. Cowbirds.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's unreal. If you that was what we searched. What bird sounds like a drop of water? There's one result.
You nailed it.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're really cool.
There's a bird a little bit further south than here it's called a catbird, and it honestly sounds exactly like a cat. It's like I remember staying at my friend's place and I knew she had a cat, but it wasn't like a wandery meowy type cat. I was just, as soon as dawn hits, there's this thing outside the freaking window. It's like, what the hell?
There's a bird that sounds just like a squeaky gate. And
no.
I just had to look it up because I couldn't remember what it was. But we've got them around, Jared. You'll hear them if you're not already familiar. But they're called grackles, and yeah, it's like somebody opening a squeaky gate. It's hilarious.
Oh, that could
I had a
grate
buddy.
on your nerves.
I went to college for parks and ecology stuff, and I had one student, classmate, who he could identify like over 100 birds by their call, and he could do a convincing whatever you call it impression of like, I don't know, 50 different birds. It was crazy.
Oh wow.
He was kind of he was kind of a savant, but he was really awkward. Go figure. I think he had a touch of the tism.
Grackles are very popular in Austin, Texas as well.
What is this here? Is this the cowbird?
Oh, right.
Jared brought it.
Doesn't look anything like a cow.
Yeah.
Squeaky gate bird.
Oh, that's the grackle, huh? Jared's muted. I think he's been trying to talk.
Sorry, this is the cowbird. This is the one that sounds like water dropping. It's just not giving us many actual sounds of it. Come on, buddy.
You can do it. Just one little drip.
Oh, there it went.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was almost like a gurgle, like.
Yeah, that's what the video is actually titled. It's like where's it? Scroll, baby. It doesn't want to scroll. Yeah, liquid gurgle chiming call of brown-headed cowbird.
That's a sentence I bet you thought you'd never say.
I think that's the most specific clip ever shared on the WTF forum.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. Weaponized autism.
Highly specific.
Weapons of mass autism. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the Eclipse Roundup, we're veering off. We've got a little bit of Laura left. So, Laura, what were you doing on the night of the eclipse? Where were you, and what were you yourself doing?
I was actually coming from a friend's house, and then I came into my house, and my husband and my son and my brother-in-law were all sitting in chairs with their glasses on, looking up at the sky, watching it. And I was actually breaking any curses over my family because I didn't know what the hell CERN was doing. I didn't know, because a lot of them were saying that was a satanic ritual, what they were doing, and that the hype was off the charts. I mean, a lot of people that have never even heard or my stepmom even asked me, have there been any other total solar eclipses recently? And I was like, well, okay, yeah, since 2014, there's been like shitloads of them, but yeah. And nobody even really knew when they were, but this one was blasted out everywhere. So anytime you know that the bad guys own 96% of the media. So anytime it's blasted all over the airwaves, it's them doing something. They are doing it for a reason. And most everybody couldn't figure out, what are they doing this for? Have you guys ever seen the hoax ritual that was done at CERN? Y'all seen that video?
Oh, yes.
The hoax?
Yeah. Was it actually a hoax, or is that just what they call it?
That's what they called it. But
Okay.
I don't know why I don't know why scientists would be killing a person and doing a blood sacrifice ritual out in the scientific, in front
as
of
a
us.
gag. Yeah, that's kind of
as a gag.
Every time they get caught, they call it a mock sacrifice. They're like the Bohemian guys. They're like the Bohemian Grove guys are. Oh no, it's a mock sacrifice, and
like that makes it normal. Like,
yeah,
because that is normal. Totally normal for a
it's not normal behavior. Yeah.
Super relatable.
Scientific institution. They do that all the time. I mean, totally.
Wait a minute. We're a part of a group that sacrificed a gallon of milk.
But
we ended COVID.
Hey, it's not a group, okay? It's not even a cult, even though you might think it is.
Right. There's no membership. There's no membership.
For those not in the club, we should explain we're talking about Childerberg. There was a ritualistic sacrificing of a gallon of milk committed by Robbie the Fire Bernstein. I was not party to it, so whatever they did, I don't know. I'm not a part of that. I was just getting drunk with Ando, probably. Like
milk? What milk?
Yeah, I wasn't a part of it either. I just know that.
Jared, you weren't at the ritual.
Bird was involved.
Yep, I was there for that one. That was 2 years back.
That was, yeah.
Yep. This year they just tried to smash a handle in a public camping ground.
Like a handle of liquor, you mean?
Yeah, and they were trying to just like toss this empty large bottle of liquor and hope that it would smash, and threw it repeatedly,
and it didn't break.
They're not meant to break like that.
Well, and that's kind of poor behavior, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. Couldn't help it.
That was good.
Maybe over spilled liquor.
But we got to respect our hosts. I don't want to leave broken glass. I mean, that's just disrespectful. Ando and I did our Borgs in plastic jugs like good men.
Yeah, you got your credit cards worth that day.
Holy smokes.
I will not be doing a Borg again.
No, I think that was a one-time ritual. For those, again, out of the loop, blackout rage gallon. Ando's idea. I was dumb enough to go along with it.
And it was arguably either half-assed or 1.5-assed.
How do you mean?
There was no, like, just complete the gallon that occurred. It kept getting topped off and new things added in. Was any ever finished?
Ando kept.
I think mine disappeared at one point.
Disappeared.
Which means that I set it down and left it. But whatever. I drank more than a gallon of liquor that day.
You drank so much.
Yeah.
It was. Oh my god. I don't even necessarily. I'm not proud of it. But yeah, what's done is done.
Talking about rituals, I was just going to mention. The when we're talking about CERN, the statue of Shiva. I mean, there's nothing hoaxy about that, is there? That's an actual statue outside CERN.
Yeah,
who is
weird.
people argue that it's not the god of destruction, it's the god of rebirth and blah blah. It's like, well, okay, however you look at it, it's weird. Putting that there.
It's weird.
We have you on video. It's real. And they go, oh, it was a prank. We were making it up. We were doing a mock sacrifice. That's it.
Dude, but
okay, well, you can take the statue down now then. Thanks.
That's the same thing that Robbie the Fire claimed. Like, it was just a joke ritual at Childerberg. I'm saying, maybe we got to be careful about that crowd.
Well, he banished Anthony Fauci. I mean,
it was a good mission for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I forgot that was. Yeah, it did work. It did work.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that. Okay. Yep, Mike.
Sorry. I was just gonna ask Laura, like, is it even funny to play around? Because, like we're saying, there was this joke sacrifice of the gallon of milk. I forgot that it was to get rid of Anthony Fauci, right? But is that even something you should even tempt or play with? I don't know.
It depends on what kind of words you're using.
Sure.
It does. Words matter. God created everything with words. So words absolutely matter. But Stella, that Shiva statue you're talking about, has anyone ever looked at the bottom of it, the feet? It's literally dancing on a baby. There is a baby underneath it.
I know.
Not
it's
kidding.
So gross. Yeah, when you look into a lot of those things, I mean, they can be explained away as, oh, but that just means this and that. It's like, yeah, okay, but it looks like that and it's freaking terrifying. So what the, But that was a really good question, Mike. Like, do these pretend rituals, I mean, do they still have power? They kind of do. Like we were discussing, I think last time when you were here, Laura, about the soap opera weddings and the acted weddings. Was that when you were here? How they don't actually go through with the actual ritual on camera, because then they are actually like married. Because
I have read that. Yeah.
So they all, there always sort of pan off to a bit of piano music and some soft dissolves and that kind of thing, so that there's no actual 100% ritual happened. But yeah, great question. So people do need to sort of be more aware, and I'm becoming more aware myself as well. I've always been aware of this, but it is really important. I think, particularly maybe now in these weird days, things seem to be more powerful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I've noticed it
Well,
in
think
my little
about
tiny
this.
world.
So in Freemasonry, every level, there's 33 levels, and every level, the way that they go to the next level is they take new oaths and vows. It's words.
Yes,
They're
yes.
and they're binding all this evil stuff to themselves by taking an oath. If I ever tell anything, I allow my tongue to be cut out. These
Mm.
oaths are bad. I was helping a guy that was doing some deliverance with a military guy that he only got up to the 3rd degree, and we're going through them and we're renouncing what he did every level. And man, as I read them, I said, good God, I said, did you really lay down in a casket? And he goes, yes, I did. And I go, why would you do that? And he said, he goes, I don't know. They're telling you that it's like a form of rebirth and stuff.
Mm.
And you don't think it's sinister. You don't think that what you're doing is sinister. And you think that you're helping the community and all this crap because you
Yeah.
don't know you're serving Lucifer until you're at the 32nd degree, I think. So
That's
we're renouncing this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
That's the same ritual that the Skull and Bones do. They lay in a casket, confess everything while masturbating.
Yeah, I
You
believe
gotta
it.
learn that from the kitty history on the previous episode. Not kitty history, but the history with the kids.
So, Laura, would it be fair? Would it be a fair comment to say that because there has been talk about the Freemasons seem to cop all the the flack, and everyone blames that person, or everyone blames the Jews, or the one group, but really the group that really seems to be behind it also has a very similar oath. And of course, we're speaking about the Jesuits. Would it be fair to say that the Freemasons would be sort of more like a foot soldier army of the Jesuits?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they are. The Freemasons are there, and there are different sects. There are different sects of the SECTS.
Yes.
There are different sects to the Freemasons too, and they compete. They compete for power also.
What about the Shriners? Are Shriners a subgroup?
Yep.
Okay. My great grandfather was a Shriner.
Oh, you need to do some renunciations. I can help you and your sister, and you do some. Y'all need to renounce some stuff out of your blood.
If I may, I know we're on a roll here, but we covered like false deliverance ministries maybe 2-3 months ago. There was a woman that was caught like with repeat like characters being delivered from their evil spirits. So have you done any research into those like hucksters? I mean, I'm just curious.
Tell me what was she doing that was false? What was she doing?
The same woman in multiple different cities being delivered like multiple times. Like it was totally an act.
An act.
Like a crisis actor for the church.
For yes, yeah. It was like kind of a tent revival type of setting. I forget the gal's name, but she's like basically been found out to be a fraud. Big on YouTube for a long time. TikTok actually I think was her main thing. But like found out as a total fraud. Like the evidence is clear. So, and I suppose if there's any truth to this like deliverance from these ancestral sins or spirits or what have you, the worst thing to do is to discredit it with such a phony, right?
Right. Of course. Yeah. What a marvelous way to get people to think, so it's all, it's all BS, No, it's definitely real. I just got done doing a women's conference yesterday, and just on the very last, we were literally closing out, and this one last lady was praying, and as she was praying and walking around and laying her hands on people, this woman in the back started manifesting and growling. And I know this woman, the one that was growling, and I immediately went over to her, me and another minister, and we said, let it, let it go and let it go, let it come out. And she just, I mean, it just come out of her. She's screaming and hollering. Everybody's looking like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, by the time that night ended, that was probably about 4:00. I didn't get done till 9:30 that night. And lots of stuff coming out of about 5 different people. And no, it's definitely real. And you will find out whenever you start doing deliverance and think, you will literally start feeling something move inside of you. You will, or because they have to come out, they're spirits. So they come out, and they have to come out by the authority and the power, the name of Jesus, if they have no legal right to stay. If they have a legal right to stay, they may leave and they may come right back the next day or that night or whatever. But they come out in the form of a breath, like with sneezing, coughing, screaming, vomiting. You don't really vomit food. They vomit
ectoplasm.
Huh?
Ectoplasm?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just like sputum and spit, but they're gagging and coughing and they're
What about a yawn? What about a yawn?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Yes.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, because sorry to interrupt, but this is really interesting. So many times, nearly every time, I think, when I pray, I yawn. And it's sort of, I'm not a big yawner. So it's like every single time. And I've sort of come to think, wow, I feel like I've just had something put into me, or something's been received or something. I don't know what it is, and I said it to my brother once, and he said, oh yeah, I can relate to that, because he's also a Christian. So yeah. Do you ever get that? It's a bit weird.
When you pray, are you praying for yourself and your family and just like your normal, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, just the normal sort of prayers that you do constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When with there is a couple of different types of prayer. You're right there. Like there's the constant praying, but then when you're really sitting down and really putting, like, you're focusing on prayer, and you are really asking for something, and it's, I mean, 3 times a day, I guess, but it happens nearly every time. It's just like, wow, it's like this connection, sort of. That's what it feels like, this impression.
I think the yawn, I kind of, I discovered the importance of the yawn the hard way. During the BLM riots, I got swept up. I was there because, number one, fuck the lockdowns. Number two, fuck the police. We lost Laura. Hopefully she comes back soon. But, yeah, because this story's almost for her, but
yeah,
whatever. Right. I got so, like, emotionally involved, and also, like, just became a part of the crowd for a moment. I maintained my sanity, thank God. But yeah, we lost you there for a second, Laura.
I don't know why. Y'all lost me twice.
Yeah, it's the second time. Yeah. Weird. But anyways, I was basically saying that, like, the BLM riots, like, really had an impact on my psyche. I was there. I witnessed the protest turn riots. I'm proud to say I didn't riot, I just observed, and, like, but I did march and I chanted. And then I couldn't sleep for days and days. And I was on the phone with a woman that I loved at the moment, and she talked me through some breathing exercises. And I finally, after about 20 minutes of focused breathing, I let out the biggest yawn of my life, and I said, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Thank God.
You expelled it. Yeah, you expelled it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very bizarre. That's not normal for me, Yeah.
Breath work is actually really powerful too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. They're spirits. Even the word means breath. So that's how they come in. That's how they go. Right. And some people, they say, no matter what, when I start reading my Bible, I fall asleep, like literally on the first sentence. I can't even get in one paragraph. That is a spirit of slumber, and they will do that. They're demons. I mean, that's what they do. They will do that to keep you. If you don't know the tricks of the enemy, you don't know how to counter it. So, and if you are one of those people, you just say, in the name of Jesus, I break the power of the spirit of slumber, sleeping, and every opposing force that's keeping me from my word, and test it. You test it yourself, and then you'll be able to read.
Test the spirits.
Yeah, test them. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's when my first book was written, about a spirit that came out of me in a physical way. And so that was the way, that was about 8 years ago, 8 or 9. And that was the way the Lord led me into deliverance, because I didn't know what the hell happened to me. And it was a super freaky experience, because there was a physical manifestation of it. And it came out with it in the breath. The way it came out, it sounded like this, but it was not my vocal cords. And it just shut off. But it was not my vocal cords doing it. It was foul, evil sounding, completely flipped me out. I jumped out of the bed. I was running in circles, tripping out. I mean, freaking out, like, what? I don't know what that was. But, and then right before that, feathers were hitting me in the face, and I could hear, like, it sounded like a hummingbird in my ear. I wouldn't even open my eyes. I was so freaked out, because whatever it was in my bed with me, and I was home alone. My husband had gone to work. My son was gone to school, and I was alone. And this sound is happening right on the side of my face. And I didn't know my mouth was open, but when I breathed in, it went in. And these feathers were soft, though. They were soft, and they felt like I had a knowing they were white. And I explained in my book what all happened. The Lord showed me every bit of it, every bit of what happened. Anyways, what happened was an angel went in. I had told a demon, I saw it in the spirit realm. I thought I was imagining it. And when I saw it, I said, you have no part in me. You have no power over me. And we have nothing in common. You have to go. And then I thought, oh yeah, I was trying to hold my focus on Jesus. It's called soaking. And so I went back to soaking. And then I was just laying there after the CD finished. I was listening to scriptures and soaking my soul. And then that's when I started feeling and hearing all of this physical manifestation of something next to me. Well, the creature that I saw, it was demonic. It was black. It was tall. It had pointed ears. It had wings that were all broken and messed up, tattered, torn, ripped up, bad. And he was staring right at me. He had little bitty beady eyes. And I was down a hallway, and like a stone hallway under the ground. And he was looking straight into my eyes, and I was looking into his. But in the spirit, you have way less fear. You don't have the kind of fear you do like here. And after I said that and I told it to go, it did not go. And so when I was laying there, the sound of what I was feeling on the side of my face, that was an angel going in me. And then I could feel, and you would have even been able to see it. If you walked in the room, you would have seen my stomach moving up and down, just like a demonic movie. But it went down, across, and back up. And it was a spiraling movement up and down, and a spiraling. And then that evil sound came out. And the Lord showed me later this was a ministering spirit sent in to evict him, because he was not coming out on his own. And I had told him, you have to go. They're real.
Wow.
They're real.
Powerful.
Yeah, they're very real.
I know you might have seen me laughing while you were talking, and I wasn't laughing at anything you said. I couldn't help but laugh because Jared texted me. And the moment you said soaking, I hate to say it, my mind went to a very dirty place.
It's because you lived in Utah.
And it's because I lived in Utah.
But are you the Mormon?
I'm not a Mormon. They tried to get me. They tried. They really tried. But no, when you said soaking, there's a rumor, okay? It's kind of an urban legend.
A rumor. Yeah, it's an urban, yeah.
I don't know if it's real, but
it's
supposedly Mormon teenagers will soak as opposed to having sex. And when they
What is it?
it's penetration without thrusting. and then supposedly the funniest part is that then they will recruit a friend as a jumper, and the jumper will jump up and down on the bed so that they don't have to thrust in order to have a good time, so
Wow.
That's
Is that
why
like the laziest sex ever?
It's called a jumpy humpy.
It reminds me of the clip from last week of the Jewish guy making coffee on the Sabbath, where he has to pour the hot water in one cup and then from that cup into another cup in order to not quote unquote cook. Anyways, that's the whole thing. But we should pause for a moment. Stella, do you have something?
You gotta put the backpack here. You gotta hide it from God.
Yeah, you gotta hide. Yeah, well, and the funniest part of that clip is he says, "It's not a loophole. It's not a loophole." And I said, "Yeah, motherfucker, it's a loophole."
It's like the definition of a loophole.
Yeah. Stella, what do you got to say?
Very unholy loop. Well, I would like to welcome somebody very special to the show, Monica Perez. This is our surprise.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Monica. It's so good to have you here.
Hey, it's super fun to see you guys. I've been enjoying the show.
Awesome.
I have to say, I've been listening to it while I put on my makeup. Put makeup on a Sunday night for y'all. It's pretty big.
You didn't have to do that. Stella just hides, It's okay.
I thought of that, but I can't even make my avatar as cute as she is, so that's not going to happen.
Well, it was quite a moment for you to join the party. We were talking about soaking.
I heard that.
You managed to invert this wonderful thing.
Yeah, I was thinking of I had Catholic friends who,
were
that's
virgins. Where it started.
They were technically virgins.
Yeah, what they call
doing stuff that I would not do.
What they call the poop hole loophole, perhaps.
I don't know. That's boy talk. I'm not going there at this time. Besides, this is a not an alcoholic beverage, so I mean, if we're 45 minutes into a giant martini, I think I could probably
get
top
some
that.
Some naughty words.
It'd be a very different show.
Stella, you used to watch the disappearing patron parties.
Yes, I used to participate. Definitely.
Yes.
I miss those days.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, what is going on?
Well, I have to tell you, my state of mind is very different from your topics because I had the most Down syndrome heavy weekend. And I have a son who has Down syndrome. But yesterday was his first Special Olympics. I missed the opportunity to take a picture of him completely sprawled out on the bench sleeping. So just so you know, the Special Olympics is a totally different ball game, literally. And then today I took him and like 12 of his friends bowling.
Oh, wow.
And the only thing that's standing between me and that 45-minute martini is my desire to be with you guys. So I'm having a Lebanese white coffee.
Oh, look, just pour away. Feel free.
Yeah, you don't have to put on airs.
I considered it. I might actually call for a cocktail at some point.
I'm way ahead of you, Monica.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Well, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Eastern time. I was telling these.
Later, yeah.
It's very nice to meet you, by the way.
Very nice to meet you.
Yes, and please,
hi,
we'll introduce everyone. Laura, this is Monica.
Hi, Laura.
Glad to have you on the same show. This is awesome.
And who's Jared's partner?
You know Jared, don't you?
I think we've met before, but I don't think I met the cat.
Yep, this is Pringle. He's been needy lately.
Yeah, that's awesome. Pringle is extra fluffy. I'm a sucker for the fluffy.
Kind of nicer than a parrot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cats are the best cats.
I have bunnies, and I will just tell you, they should not be allowed to call them pets. They don't let you pet them. I feel like it was false advertising.
They're very
all they do is eat shit. It's
individual.
Not cool.
They're for farming, I think.
And they like to shoot tables. It's a bad.
Oh yeah.
I like.
Yeah, we had like 30 indoors until somewhat recently.
And then I hope you ate them.
We have 15 in the freezer.
Nice. That's where they belong. Anyway, sorry, don't tell my daughter. I've been babysitting her therapy bunnies for like since the first day of lockdown. I thought she was like, we should have gotten hamsters. They die in like a year. I was like,
Yeah, no
damn,
kidding.
Damn.
hamster. How did I not know that?
Gerbils, that's like 9 months tops.
They eat each other. I think the gerbils actually eat each other.
Oh man, yeah, they will.
Not at Richard Gere's house.
I had gerbils, and me and my friend would race them,
Nice.
or attempt to, until one of them just keeled over. And then there was no racing.
We raced them off the roof, and I don't know what happened.
They don't go very fast when they're dead.
No. Well, I guess the one won. I'll say that. The other definitely lost.
You're right. Anyway, I've had my fill with
Yeah.
underperforming mammals this week.
Well, sorry for such a shock to your system coming from Downs weekend to soaking. But
Yes.
Laura was saying some really profound stuff right before you came in about soul soaking or
I was
spirit
listening.
soaking. And
Yes, I was listening, and I actually, and I heard the last time you were on the show, Laura, and I know a priest who is, I think, has participated in exorcisms.
Mhm.
So it's
I believe
not,
it.
and I heard what you guys were talking about, like Mayorkas, maybe, or he's an Israeli Jesuit, I guess, was what I got out of that show. Catholics are not allowed to be Freemasons. Did you know that?
No, they don't need to be because they're
No, I
in the
understand
Knights
because
of
the Jesuit
Columbus.
thing. I know. I just wanted to
Well, I
make
mean,
sure.
the Jesuits are way up above.
Right.
Like the Jesuits are. Matter of fact, I have a. I mean, it's. Have y'all ever heard of the Secret Covenant? It's a covenant, a Luciferian covenant that is basically the oath that was taken over, and they even say in here that we'll create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. And so,
is this
like
the Jesuit code?
I don't know anything about that. I was raised Catholic, and my father's like, Jesuits don't even believe in God. And then and my parents were lay Franciscans. And then when St. Francis was a Jesuit, took the name Francis, to me, that was like such an inversion. I was like horrified by that. And it was definitely on purpose. No pope has ever taken Francis before.
Can we pause there? Saint Francis was Jesuit. Is that
Sorry, Pope Francis. Pope Francis.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pope Francis is a Jesuit, and he took the name Pope Francis after Saint Francis, which is
of Assisi.
Horrifying. Yes.
Well, so
because we were Franciscans.
So what? Okay.
My father's buried in a brown, like with a little rope tie. I mean, my parents were lay Franciscans, and my uncle is a Franciscan priest. And to think that a Jesuit, which we consider secular humanists, or much worse, I don't know anything about the demonic side.
So
all I know is that they're not Catholic.
To be clear, you're saying that you take offense to him
taking Francis,
appropriating the name.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think he did it to hide that he's a Jesuit, because no pope has ever been a Jesuit.
I always admired Saint Francis.
Yeah.
As a nature connoisseur.
He's a little bit of a thief, which is kind of hard to get my mind around, but I liked him.
Interesting.
My confirmation name is Francis.
I was confused. I thought you were like talking smack about Saint Francis as if
Pope Francis, Papa Frank, that drinks baby's blood.
I was tracking with you, Monica. I for some reason I was thinking Pope Francis when you were.
No, definitely Pope Francis. It's just great. So, but I don't know. I was always taught like that the Masons were in the church, that there was a lot of homosexuality in the church, that there was the Jesuits were subverted the church. Like that's what my Catholic parents taught me. So when people like yell at the church for that stuff, I'm like, but the real Catholics, that's the people who are trying to subvert the real Catholics. And then when Francis did, whatever his name is, Borgoglio, whatever, did that, I was like, ugh. But anyway, but the only reason I was even saying any of that is that I actually, and I was talking to Stella about this, I don't know anything about the Jesuit stuff, the Black Popes, nothing. And I definitely, like, I would love for you to school me in that, as long as I need some evidence. Like I need to be able to understand, like, yes, we're sure this happened. We think this happened. And that's That I would love the education. Black popes, gray popes. I don't know.
Well, there's a great.
I mean, you don't have to do it now.
That's-
Like, I don't
that's
want to hijack the show with that, but
This is what we do, Monica.
That's a really good point, actually. Can we talk about the fact that there's a black pope and a grey papacy? Do you know much about that, Laura?
I don't know exactly what the gray pope does, but the black pope, the real title for the black pope is the superior general of the Jesuits, and they are the military arm of the Papal Vatican. That's exactly what they are. They're the military arm, and the Jesuit order was established to counter or resist the Reformation, which are the Reformation. Now, what that is for people that don't know is back whenever the Bible was converted into English and people could read it for themselves, they realized, hey, wait a minute, Catholic Church or Vatican, y'all are getting us to do all of our, you're getting us to do everything to you. And it's all supposed to be going straight to God. So Martin Luther wrote what is called a 95-point thesis. They call it the Reformation. And the 95-point thesis was 95 things that when they read the Bible, they said, this is what the Bible is telling us to do. And there are 95 differences in what you're telling us to do from what the Bible says to do. And for this reason, we are separating from the church, from
did
the
Luther
Roman
say
Catholic
he was
Church.
separating? I thought he wanted to reform the church, but I didn't think he was a separatist.
That was my understanding as well.
Okay, then they came, let me say it that way. They came out of it saying, we are going to start following the Bible. We want to follow the Bible, strictly the Bible. And then he nailed that to the church doors saying, we are done. And you can use whatever you want, but they separated themselves from, I don't think they called themselves separatists, but they separated themselves from the Roman Catholic Church at that point so that they could follow the Bible.
It's a schism, I believe, is the right term.
So, yeah, and then the Jesuits were formed to counter that Reformation. Now, the Gray Pope, I don't know what the Gray Pope does, but I have heard about that too. I have heard that there's a Gray Pope as well. And they're all, now see, whether you're the white Pope or the black Pope, both of them I know, or the things that I have read and looked at, all say that both popes have taken this oath, this secret, the Jesuit. Let me see what it was called. I think I wrote it down somewhere.
The Grey Pope is Pepe Orsini.
Oh, is that Orsini?
Yeah, that's the Grey Pope.
Okay, and that I talked about that in part 7 of my series. That the most of the Pope and the Cardinal candidates all come out of 10 family bloodlines, and they have controlled the Vatican throughout history. Now, and it's not voted on or elected like we're told. It's kind of just like the elections, like we're told that we're elected someone. Yeah, it's all rigged. It's all controlled.
Where do you get information on this? I want to read about it.
Everywhere on the internet. You can.
Well, I just want to read, I want to be able to read the source, the evidence stuff, because I have to be able to evaluate it. And I just don't know anything about it. I've got to start with that.
Okay.
Is there like a book? There's a book.
I'm sure there's many.
Yes, there
a
are
book
books
that you think is
they're probably all in the Vatican Library.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that there's going to be like stuff that comes out that's deliberately put something crazy in there so that you can discredit the whole thing. You were talking about that earlier with the healing. So if there's a book that you can recommend, that would be a great place for me to start. I have Avro Manhattan. I have a bunch of books by Avro Manhattan. You ever hear of him?
No.
He was like the original, like the Vatican did everything. Like Vatican is they're great, but they're so great, conspiranoid yum. But I never really dug into his evidence. I'm surprised you don't know. I wish I had it. I wish that this screen weren't there because I have a big pile of those books. If you give me a second, maybe I'll pull one out. Hold on.
Monica, I might appropriate conspiracoid yum.
Conspiranoid.
Okay. Conspiranoid.
If you can give me 15 seconds and then I'll give up my search. Hold on.
Yeah, do your thing.
No worries. Laura, do you reckon it's worth reading out that screenshot that I sent you? Because that was pretty much full of lots of info with the names. Are we allowed to name names, or is that naughty?
I don't give a fuck.
I know you don't. That the Who is a Jesuit. I sent you in the DM. You want me to read it? Or?
Yeah. I was going to say I was going to pull it up, and I'm
you can read it.
looking. Here it is. Okay. Who is a Jesuit? And it says there are many of them. The Society of Jesus was ordained by the Antichrist beast papacy around 1540. That's when the Reformation was. Okay, perhaps Saint Ignatius of Loyola rings a bell. His real name was Inigo Lopez. Jorge Bergoglio, aka Pope Francis, is Jesuit. Arturo Sosa is the Jesuit Superior General, aka the Black Pope. The Gray Pope is Pepe Orsini. The relevance is the Jesuits flipped empirical science on its head, and nowadays people follow erroneous pseudoscience. The Jesuits provided us with a laundry list of grand-scale deceptions such as heliocentrism, viral contagion, and germ theory, false futurist eschatology, Big Bang, and evolution. Some of the more prominent, deeply ingrained falsehoods. I ask about the commenter having read the Jesuit oath. It's very telling.
Interesting. I would like to know what you think about Avro Manhattan if I can ever find. I can't find it. I have too many books back there. But yes, I would love to get to the bottom of the Jesuit thing.
I can get you some book names. I can get
that
you
would
some
be
book
great.
names
Start with one.
Way older books that are much older.
That's the best. Yeah. That's the best. I like. It's like sometimes when I look at the watershed moments, I always try to find like a book before this. So I have a book, Dollars for Terror, and it was written in 1999. So like it's not tainted by all the 9/11 like point counterpoint, propaganda counter propaganda stuff. It's real like just lists of stuff that right now people be like, oh, you're a truther, but it's really just documented evidence of Osama bin Laden working for the CIA or whatever.
Yeah. Why is truther a negative? I don't understand that.
I know. That's what I was surprised too. I was like, how is that a bad word?
Right.
But the other ones are like, JFK, it was the big one, another like watershed moment for the media where
I
if
can
you
tell
get
you why.
Say it again.
Because I can tell you why it's a bad word. That anything that's a threat to the globalist power is a bad word. It's it's just like like what's going on right now with this whole grandstanding about Ukraine. I think most Americans are like, I'm sick of my money going over there. This place is going to shit, and we're funding this ridiculous war over here. So but it doesn't matter to the machine. The machine just continues to do its thing and says that it's a bad word of anybody that's a threat to it, anybody that makes sense whenever they're saying, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I feel that there's the whole game is to invalidate the valid. And then there was like Seymour Hersh, people who wrote 9/11 conspiracy theories before Obama, and they all of a sudden Obama came in and those same people stopped defending that position. And you just got to wonder, I mean, this is something we were talking about, Stella, you just got to wonder if they were always knowing parts of the machine, because after that they had to know. Seymour Hersh knows that he stopped talking about it. I think he says that he was basically silenced, but what is there to silence? The internet was wide open there for a while.
He was silenced after Nord Stream, right? That was his most recent.
But that's his revival. I think in like 2002, or 2001, like he was writing, the Republicans did 9/11. And then later, he was quiet for the entire Obama era. And now that like they needed to give him some credibility, he gets to be like a fearless truther. But it's like, really, where were you for those 10 years that we dropped 20,000 bombs a year on Syria?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk when at the right time, isn't there? Like just right now with all the stuff coming out about excess deaths and the vax and everything. It's like, oh yeah, everyone's got plenty to say now, haven't they? It's all safe, We can all speak together now. We can all stand up like heroes and
that's why
say all the things we've been talking about for the last 4 freaking years.
This is the book about Danny Casolaro, which was something that happened in the 90s. So they did a Netflix documentary on it, and this is the good book though. But it's this skinny little book. I just looked it up because I wanted to get another copy. It's $500. I knew it would be.
Oh,
because it takes the story like further than the Netflix thing, obviously. But it's okay, I guess, to talk about that now. Because what difference is, who even knows what that's about? And all the people that they name are like dead or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, well, it was a Reagan era thing. It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Nobody cares anymore.
No.
Only the old people, and they'll be dead soon anyway.
The old people don't care either.
They don't, do they? Oh my God.
So
I was just going to acknowledge the fact that we almost witnessed one of our co-hosts get murdered by his own pet.
Today, Jared is sporting the new orange.
What? I missed it. What happened?
I didn't see it, but yeah.
I've been trying to set him down for a while because the little bastard is heavier than he looks and makes no effort to support himself. No. So I set him down. He hops back up and begins to crawl and somehow got his head through one of my headphone cables and was choking me with it. And choking himself at the same time, but that didn't bother him.
I had to send a message. Do you need help, Jared? Should we call
I
someone?
see that.
Yeah.
That's why I used to like Family Guy, because the first season before it was canceled and then renewed, the baby was a Nazi. Now he's a pervert, which isn't interesting, but he was a Nazi, which I had little babies at the time. I was like, yes, you're trying to change their diapers and they're literally trying to pee in your mouth. And you're like, I don't mind wiping your ass, but could you not pee in my mouth? And the only explanation is that they hate you. So that's why it was so appropriate. Like the kid in his mind is like, I'm going to kill her, and you're like, oh, what a cute baby. He pukes in your mouth, and you're like, so your cat hates you.
You need to write an autobiography. My baby was a Nazi.
Dude, it was so relatable. My baby was a Nazi. Anyway, but your cat's a little bit of a Nazi right now, Jared.
He's almost always a mess. I've got another small cat that's much smaller than him that will just like hop onto my leg, climb up, and just rest on my shoulders.
Perfect.
But this one has seen that happen so often that he attempts the same, but like not even half-assed, like quarter-assed,
and
just latches in and just stays. Doesn't get to a point of balance.
It's like, what? Shit talking? Really? Look at the look he's giving you.
I know.
Yeah.
I own this dude. Oh, he's
what? What?
I love you.
He's giving him kisses.
He's probably getting something out of his beard from the night before.
Yeah, you got to catnip that thing up.
He needs something.
Yeah. There's no better friend than an orange cat.
Get him stoned, man. Maybe he'll chill out.
I have 8 older brothers and sisters. And I almost said it to somebody sitting next to me at the Special Olympics. And I was like, you can't just say stuff like this to regular other moms. And I was just about to say, like, she was saying something about learning parenting. Like, we don't really learn how to parent kids like that. And I was like, I didn't learn how to parent any kids because my 8 older brothers and sisters who raised me, like the most important things to them were to teach me how to use vulgarity and to get me high. So my son sent me, I guess my brother sent this to my son, a reel-to-reel that he had converted into like a digital format, reel-to-reel of him teaching me how to say, all cops are pigs.
Oh, no.
I was 2. And we have it. It's documented evidence. He was 17. I was 2. And then my sister Rosemary used to roll up the windows and smoke me out, and then and kick me out, kick me out of the car, and watch me wobble around.
Oh my god!
So
it's funny because it was a long time ago. It wouldn't be funny now.
No, I'm actually a little nervous even saying so. I'm like, what, who am I going to offend by that? Like, what horrible, seeing that this is why she's a terrible mother and, let's investigate her, whatever.
Hey, you're lucky. You're lucky. Nobody listens to the WTF forum. So.
Perfect. It's just what I like. It's just among friends.
Yeah,
except the people on here. We all listen
perfect.
to it.
Yeah.
What happens in the forum stays in the forum.
A
few
kinda,
sort of,
but not really. Kind of, but not really.
We do have our leaks.
Yeah.
So,
where are we going next, Stella? Yeah.
Well, we were sort of done, I suppose. Pretty much done with the eclipse. I think we've just, the propaganda was a bit fanfared. What I did want to bring up was the fact that sometimes, when things don't happen in your face, obviously, it doesn't mean that something didn't happen. I keep alluding back to, yes, there was big fanfare. Yes, there was all this propaganda crap, fear mongering. What the military was set up and all that rubbish. But I keep coming back to the fact that there was some extraordinary coincidences of place names and all those sort of the dates and all that sort of thing. So I just sort of I'm not saying it was all a big nothing burger, because in one sense definitely it was, as any normal kind of person would expect generally, but I'm still sitting back, just going to observe over the next few months, because I think on a spiritual level there was definitely some symbolic things that happened, so not writing it off.
Keep your eye on May 18th, I think it is, because remember, as the eclipse went across, one of the things they were bringing up was that it was going through the town Nineveh.
Oh
Nineveh.
my gosh.
Yes.
Over and over. And I think 8 out of 9, or maybe 7 out of 8 Ninevehs in the United States were in the path. So whenever you look at the story of Jonah and Nineveh, then it was a 40-day warning before destruction came. So you gotta go from the eclipse date and add 40 days, and that would be your marker date, not the eclipse date, but the 40 days after.
Yeah, and just a little side note, the 100% path of totality didn't go through all the Ninevehs. That only went through that was in the place of about 2 of them. So the rest were less than 100%. Just pointing that out.
Still made the news. But what's up with did anyone cover that, like the idea that we really shouldn't have a total eclipse? That like the likelihood that the moon is exactly the same size as the our perspective of the sun at any given time is basically impossible.
I believe what is claimed is that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon,
and not far enough away for it to.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to get it wrong.
It's all just a perfect, it's a perfect amazing
alignment.
Coincidence and all that sort of thing. So yes,
then again,
it's
I don't
certainly
know.
hard to believe, but then we are in a grand design, so who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to balance between intelligent design and psyop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. I mean, it could just be intelligent design, which I think it explains a lot more than, or even just I mean, even just something set in motion that it was pregnant with all these perfections or whatever. But that just does seem a little weird, because it's perfect. It is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
I could see if it was
maybe that's
bigger.
the lesson. Maybe that's the entire lesson of the eclipse. Like, wow,
Oh,
that is
God.
How else does that happen?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I believe there are variations. Like each eclipse is not exactly the same, because there are variations with the timing and distances and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So
that heliocentrism thing, Laura, that you mentioned, I hardly ever hear anyone mention that, but my priest friend is like, yeah, that's a mistake.
Meaning that we are centered around the sun.
That we are the center of the universe or whatever, which is just impossible for me to believe, because it seems
that's not heliocentrism. That's geocentrism.
Oh, right. But weren't you saying, Laura, that the heliocentrism was the fallacy?
Was the fallacy, and
that's what the priest is saying.
So what is heliocentrism then exactly? Should we look this up?
That the sun is the center of the planetary system, the solar system,
right.
that all the planets go around.
Helio. Yeah, of course.
And
there's a video called heliosorcery. And
when you break down the word, that makes sense. Yes, heliocentrism.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
One of the interesting things to me that makes me think, yeah, it's probably a bunch of BS, is that the four people that we look to, about heliocentrism is like Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and there's another one, and none of them were believers. They're all
Tycho Brahe, maybe.
No, it was another name. Wait, say that name again.
Tycho Brahe, the guy with the artificial nose, he pops up in that conversation, I think.
Okay, no, that wasn't the
He
name.
had a fake nose. You don't remember, had a copper nose? I should remember that from 5th grade.
Oh, really? How did he smell?
Tycho Brahe.
Was that
Tycobrahe, I think.
Was that fashion or function?
Oh no, I think something bit it off or whatever. He had to. It was to keep his brain in his head. But yeah, so these guys, they did pop up back in the day. I don't know what
Don't sneeze, whatever you do.
Story was.
Why copper? He's picking up from the ether.
I know.
No, what's going on there?
I know copper. It's going to turn green. I guess that's perfect.
It's going to turn green.
Good way to disguise a booger.
Hey, well, at least it's antiseptic.
That's probably why.
That would be why, I have to imagine.
Yeah.
Wow, you never know what you're going to learn on the WTF Forum.
That's right.
That's right.
WTF, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have a shirt that says WTF, and it's a I should have worn it. It says life is good, and it means where's the fish? Because it's for fishing. But I kept Stella, do you remember the era when I killed 82 fish?
Yes, I remember that well.
Yeah. So my sister
I mourned for days.
Yeah, no, it was not cool. My sister sent me a WTF t-shirt, where's the fish? But I think it was supposed to be for fishermen, but she was just taking a shot at me for killing all my fish.
Never forget.
Well, we do need t-shirts for the What the Fuck Forum.
Yes,
I will say.
You absolutely do.
The punchlines are endless.
I've got a few ideas going on.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Stella. You know a guy. Are you the guy?
No, Jared's the guy.
Jared's the guy.
Oh, Jared's the guy. Yeah, I knew that myself. So yes.
Sorry.
He just nods and doesn't say a word.
I don't have much else to add. I haven't printed a fucking shirt in almost a year, more than a year.
Yeah, it's been
okay.
year.
So we're talking. We're talking printing. Printing.
Printing.
Yeah,
shirts,
it's Cricut.
We gotta up the ante, brother. We gotta up the ante. We gotta get these shirts rocking and rolling. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll talk to you about it. That's
do it. I just need somebody to throw designs and eyeballs my way. I just got tired of doing shit that nobody was seeing or caring about.
Yeah, I got a few designs.
She's got it.
Not actually done, just in my head, but
covered.
they can translate eventually.
Yep.
I finally noticed, Stella, that you've been Insta-meing for years. I can't check it.
Just the odd thing.
So I found an old cartoon of me growing chickens in pots.
Yeah.
Which was an excellent
The old Quoodle days.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it all started out, actually. It was, the propaganda report when Monica and Brad were together doing that, and we all kind of met up and then started the Union of the Unknowns eventually. But I sent it was just something that Brad said one day about negotiating with bugs or something, and I just threw this cartoon together and sent it, and it was just started this whole thing of us ended up doing Quoodles once a month, or two a month.
Yeah.
Some of them made sense.
Some of them didn't. There's like a humor barrier between there's definitely humor barrier between Americans and Germans, or Americans and French people, but you can't understand what they're saying. So most of the time you don't realize that you absolutely could not hang out because you don't have the same sense of humor. But when you run into a Canadian or an Australian or even a Brit, and you're just like, what the fuck are you what the fuck? And you just don't get it. And with the Canadians, I call it the uncanny valley, because they're really nice and you think you're getting along, and then you sell a joke and they're just still really nice and it's like, I can't make you laugh. Like, are you a robot?
Yeah, totally.
So we get an occasional Koodle Valley, like uncanny Koodle Valley. But
And do you remember there was one that was censored?
I censored it.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it? Was it something awful
involved
about
the Pope and toilet paper?
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, he
No.
is probably the
I
spawn of
understood.
Satan, but I just whatever it was, I was like, it was too.
Oh, it was too
would
hot.
be misunderstood as a shot at the church generally, which I'm fine shooting at the church. I just need to get educated a little bit more on where to take aim because my sainted parents, like, I can't do it.
The way
they deserve respect.
Yes,
as
I understood.
Catholics.
Totally
Well,
get it.
no, it's the way you explained it to me. You explained it. The church is the people.
Yes, that's what my mother
Yeah.
said. Because my parents were the biggest
Yeah.
critics of all that stuff. Always growing up. Always then people like, oh, how do you like being Catholic now that you know all this stuff? I was like, I knew it all the time. Those are the people who need to be Catholic. They need to convert back to Catholicism.
It doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, anything. The institution has the ability to be foul.
Oh yeah.
And
of course it's a target.
It's almost
for that reason.
guaranteed in a lot of places. Yeah.
That's why I'm not for I know the conservatives are gonna want to like have a schism in the church now, and I'm like, you're never gonna. It's just gonna diminish the power. You got to stick together as people. You can't let them do that.
Well, that's an interesting thought. Like, I was going to tell you, Monica, I think you'd get a kick out of this. We had a moment of realization maybe a few months ago. And Jared, I kind of talked to you about this earlier too, but I mentioned something about Jared the Permy guy, and somebody goes, "Oh, the guy that started the Propaganda Report Discord." And I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know." And it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, we're talking about the church is the people, right? And even though we've all come from maybe like the libertarian sphere, like I feel like there's some sort of transcendence going on where like we're almost shedding labels and like not really trying so hard to define what it is. We're just trying to be about it, whatever it is. And, it's kind of wild to see all these groups, these friendships, these connections.
That was a lockdown thing, I think. Like, because that's why we were all like, feeling around in the dark for other people, because like some of us were completely isolated in our personal, professional lives.
Yeah.
Geographically, like just if you lived in a freaking enclave of insanity, like I did, insanity, it was nuts here. I'm telling you, we were saying about the old people. First thing that happened, I was like, every old person, I was like, can you believe this shit? And they're just like, get away from me. I'm like, are you too old person?
We sacrificed the young for the old, like
it was so
every
stupid,
way.
And nobody got it. Like nobody got it. I was like, you guys survived the war. Maybe they didn't, because they were like 80. The war people
they're
were
the
like
boomers.
95.
They've been expecting this all their lives.
Yeah, they were happy. Yeah, that's when
this is what's supposed to happen. This is what's happened since they were born.
Yes, and it's my fault. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's everybody but their fault.
Yeah, I know.
The world revolves around them. Boomer centrism.
It was boomer centrism. Oh, that's great.
There's another T-shirt. Write that down.
Yeah. Fuck heliocentrism.
That whole era was great, and podcasts were spawned, and friendships, I've visited a lot of people who I met during that time. I might even sneak up on Stella one of these days.
Ooh.
I'm actually wondering if she would open the door, or if we'd have to talk through the curtain.
I would come and meet you, Monica. You know that. If you made the effort to fly all that way.
You'd meet Fat Mitch, my whole family, my crazy daughter.
Yeah.
But my husband said no. He said he's not taking everyone to Australia just because he's going there on business.
Oh, really?
Can you imagine?
Well, we'll have to do Uluru, Ayers Rock.
Oh, the middle of nowhere?
Yeah. We'll do that sometime.
Okay.
Major topic of discussion last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Have you been practicing, Mike?
Nulabula Gularu.
Close. Thank you. Check back
Ooga
in next week.
boogaroo. Yeah.
Ooga boogaroo. That'll do.
Are all these crazy Australian words the language of the original people?
Yeah, don't blame us white people. Yep. It's
You're
all indigenous.
appropriating it. Is that cultural appropriation?
Yes, and it's getting, I was going to say worse, it's getting heavier, especially lately. Even just very common things have been renamed, well, sort of a name alongside, but they're going to be eventually completely renamed. But even the local indigenous are just going, that's not going to catch on. I'm still going to call it Brisbane or whatever.
They want to turn it back to original names?
Well, they are. They're doing it.
Okay. Because here we have plenty of original names. Like the town I grew up in was named after Chief Nanowit, whatever. And then we have like these homages, like the Braves. You know, we name our teams after them, and it's just try as you might, you cannot say that like the Braves is I guess it's racist, but it's racist. It's like pro. You know what I mean?
It's a positive racism.
It's endearing.
How do you eradicate it? It's like respectful. How do you eradicate? They want so desperately to eradicate any subculture on the grounds of racism, but it's tough with that one. But
what happens though? They're inventing culture. I'm in South Dakota right now. I stopped at a rest area the other day that has this massive statue of a woman. And it's called Dignity, and it's about the meeting of earth and sky. But she's definitely representing a giant, and I think that this is something, the Native Americans worship Nephilim. I mean that's the truth right there. That's what we. Whenever you look at these cultures, when you look at like the Mayans, when you look at like the Hindu Indians, we were talking about Shiva earlier. Those are all Nephilim. They're actual entities. The pagans that used to be white people until we figured it out. We worshipped these terrible entities that were hybrid creatures,
scary
and powerful. And those are Nephilim. And so this woman is representing some sort of incarnation. But this is something they just invented a few years ago. The statue's not that old. And all it is just to like sort of like pay credence to a bygone culture. The culture is almost gone. And our culture is almost gone. That's happening right here in front of us. And we're sitting here like, oh yeah, we gotta, give reverence to these few people.
Well, and there's nothing there. It's like that heirloom thing where, with guns and preserving food and natural health, like you can't get it back. So, and it's like Down syndrome. Now that they have basically eradicated Down syndrome with like non-invasive prenatal testing, then these kids are in like ads and stuff. Like they're no threat at all. You can't, so now it's okay to like them. But similarly, if they give you these things to worship that you really don't even understand, it's not actually I'm fine with a lot of different moral packages, but you can't, like, they balance themselves out. Like there's reasons for this or that or whatever. Whatever. I mean, it's complicated, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing there. They're replacing something with a symbol that doesn't have any content.
So I've brought this to the forum in the past. These are actually words that people I sort of know. A couple of people out of a group. Okay, there's this farming collective.
I was reading it.
Yeah. Sorry. I will let somebody else.
Rose Hill Cemetery.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to give you the background, and then actually whoever wants to read it out loud. I'm not the best at reading stuff out loud. Trust me.
It's Black Indigenous people of color.
There's so much to unpack here.
Buried in Rose Hill Cemetery.
You're somebody who likes to read out loud. Just
I don't mind reading.
Take it away.
Whereabouts is it? Starting from the top?
From the beginning. Yeah.
All right. To our beloved Bloomington community. It has been an honour serving our community and small farmers through the cooperative over the last 2 years. We are working hard to better serve our community by expanding on our original mission. Our board of directors and operations team have taken time to reflect on how our cooperative originated and the mistake we made in choosing the store's name. We did not grasp the harmful historical context associated with Rose Hill Cemetery. By using Rose Hill in our name, we not only harmed community members, but we perpetrated the historical and systematic erasure of Black people. In our quest for understanding community concerns, we learned that many Black Indigenous people of colour buried in Rose Hill Cemetery do not have headstones. This erasure of Black life is a part of a long racist history in the United States. Our use of the Rose Hill name contributed to this erasure. We apologise for the harm we have caused our community and for not speaking up on these issues sooner. More? Yeah. We cannot undo the pain caused by our decision to use the Rose Hill name. We are, however, determined to move forward in a more informed and day-centred,
DEI,
DEI-centred
diversity, equity, and
direction.
inclusion.
Diversity, equity, inclusion. Yep. With education from local partners, we have been on a journey of processing the history of our cooperative and learning about the necessary changes needed to improve our mission and values. We are moving forward. We are moving through this process intentionally, and we have made significant strides. We now have a more diverse board of directors with 3 BIPOC and 4 women farmers. We still have room for growth and are committed to this process. Tick the boxes, basically. To reflect our expanding
BIPOC,
mission, we have changed our store's name to Bloomington Farm Stop Collective. This decision is an opportunity for us to put our DEI efforts into practice. Thank goodness for that. And hold ourselves accountable for our past mistakes. We want to say thank you to our community for alerting us to the mistake we made in choosing our name and the harm we have caused because of this decision. We want to thank our farmers, staff, and board of directors for taking accountability. It has been a humbling and challenging process. We are grateful to be a part of the Bloomington local food community and are committed to upholding our shared values. With gratitude, Bloomington Farm Stop Collective, board of directors, and management team.
So,
What?
as I
So
said,
is this-
yeah, I know these people.
Okay, wait, what is Rose Hill in relation to these people?
Okay, yeah. Trust me, after seeing this, I did my homework because truthfully, there are 2 names listed on that letter that bothered me because I know them and I love them. And I worked for and with them. And I actually continue to do business with them. And that's as specific as I probably should get. But I trolled the fuck out of that post. This was on Instagram, okay? My domain, that's where I do my shit talking. And I go, why don't we just rename the whole God? We've been talking a lot about God, so I'm going to refrain from swearing. So yeah, hesitation there. But I basically said, why don't we just rename the whole state? If you're not aware, I live in Indiana. How offensive. The land of Indians. Oh, well, we can't call it that. That's so disrespectful to all the dead Indians that don't have gravestones.
But I think actually American Indians, I don't think they object to it.
No,
to being called American Indians.
No, they don't. And
because it's a collection of different nations. What would you call them then?
I did
You have to
my
name them individually every time.
Well, I did my research about Rose Hill Cemetery, okay? Because I thought, what? I go, what the fuck? Like, it's a cemetery. They named this farm stop after the cemetery across the street because it's a beautiful cemetery. Rose Hill. What a name. It's a hill that has roses.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-fucking
And it's
do.
Asian and it's full of these Black people, which is maybe we'll keep it on the map.
Well, and
which would be nice.
The research that I did basically told me, take it or leave it, that if a Black person was buried there, it was because they were a wealthy Black person. And that Bloomington was one of the most friendly towns in the state of Indiana.
Did Indiana have slavery ever?
No, we were north, but we were on the, across the Ohio River. That was the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, so it was the Underground Railroad.
Yes. I grew up in an Underground Railroad town,
Nice.
Founded by Quakers. Quakers are cool as fuck, man.
And that's probably who's in Rose Hill, maybe.
Well, and yeah, so my whole thing, I'm like, so I trolled him, and then he called me. Because he's a man, and like a man, I answered, and we talked it out. He goes, "Hey man, like you're talking a lot of shit on our Instagram," and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, because you're sucking the dick of DEI."
And it's stupid anyway, because how do you then you erase these things? Like, I wonder if the real purpose is to eradicate any memory of different cultures.
History. It's the erasure of history.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't have an indigenous name, then it's not valid. If it was named by white people, then it's not valid.
But here, I don't think they haven't done that indigenous thing. They're wiping out, I feel like when they go through and erase any reference to American Indians, even the Redskins, there are American Indians who are lobbying to get the name of the Redskins, who wants to be named after murderers. I think it's called the Commanders now.
Yeah, it's just like
it's military people.
They're diluting.
Yeah.
They're diluting everything. So it's sort of they make it, they're genius, aren't they? They make it look like they're doing something really good, but they're doing the exact opposite. But everybody thinks they're doing something good.
Yeah.
So it's
In the
just
name
this
of
complete
morality,
dilution.
worship
Nobody.
soldier.
Yep. And if you stand up and say anything, you're
Right.
mud. So
I do have to
but
make
the other thing is, sorry.
I was just going to say I have to make a slight correction. In the tradition of the What the Fuck Forum, it's not sucking the dick of DEI, it's sucking the lady penis.
Yes, thank you.
The lady penis. Do not respect the lady penis, okay?
Shout out Rob.
That's
Uncle
Rob. That's Uncle Rob all day. Yeah.
Crazy Uncle Rob. The other thing that these creatures do to society is we're not naturally segregated. We naturally sort of co-inhabit quite happily until we're told that we shouldn't. And that takes me back to I think I may have mentioned this before. Germaine Greer, the women's movement in the 60s. She was controlled. She was brought in. I believe she was Tavistock, engineered. But there were interviews on the street. The average lady, the average housewife, the average young lady on the street were being stopped in the 70s, and saying, what do you think of this segregation? What do you think of what do you think of this the women's movement? And are you happy to be that they're standing up for women? And these girls are just going, oh, I don't know, I was pretty happy. I'm happy being a wife, sort of thing. They were fine about it all. But the rhetoric was, no, you shouldn't be. Yeah, you need to be independent, blah, blah, blah. So it's like there's this creating the problem, problem, reaction, solution, as we know. It's all engineering. But it's, when you really get down to grassroots, I don't think that segregation and war is really, in our nature as much as it's made out to be.
Well, and to separate, to erase the history of it is also a big problem.
I found that letter where it said, like, we have female farmers. And I thought, to your point, Stella, like, that's the most divisive thing I've ever heard, because it's like my church. My church is like the church I actually go to, and where my mother lived, ridiculous, like Filipinos, Haitians, whatever. Like, people didn't even speak the same language, and they all came together and would help each other because we have the same values. And you want to promote people who have the same goals as you have and values, because it furthers your goals and values. That's why when you have, I think MacArthur and Christopher Dawson, who's a great sociologist from the mid 20th century, both said, like, if you have a culture that has different religions, it's going to decline because you're working against each other. Like, you don't have the same goals. But nothing could be more unifying than same values and goals, whether it's a religion or an occupation. Like, being a farmer is, it's inside and out. It's a life, it's a career, it's an occupation, it's a heritage, it's a goal, it's it's a religion, probably, almost, because it's life. And so to think that you had to diversify farmers by something other than being farmers seems to me extremely divisive.
I find it highly offensive, actually. This line in particular is pretty much what set me over the edge. We now have a more diverse board of directors with 3 BIPOC and 4 women farmers. And I believe that's out of maybe, how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So also, how many of these BIPOCs are women? Are you double counting? Because I don't know how this score, card works. You're keeping score. You're bragging about the number of Black, Indigenous, people of color, which is such an ambiguous
It
category.
just should say non-white.
Yeah,
Because
literally.
that's all it is.
Exactly, Monica. Exactly. So I lost my shit, and I started with the whole let's rename the state of Indiana, and I go,
Be careful what you joke about.
I will.
Yeah,
man, I
careful
will.
what you wish for.
You know, I think actually I have a theory about the boards. There's a thing right now that I don't know if it's still going on. I think it is that no boards will take male board members. If an opening comes up,
no,
they
especially
absolutely
not a
will
white male.
Yeah, because I'm getting old. No, it doesn't matter.
Really, men in general, huh?
Only women. Like literally, they
Really?
will say
Really?
only women. Now there are other things that
Wow.
are only DEI or whatever, but board membership for at least a few years, and it's probably still true, only women.
Yeah.
So my thinking was this: like once you do that, you have, say, you have a male dominated industry. Say there's to be on boards of big companies is like the very most experienced people, or taking corruption aside, if you actually want to run your company and have a board that adds value, say it's a male dominated industry, so there's 100 men in the industry who can do that job and maybe 10 women if you're lucky, but you need 100 women, so you have to go deeper into the depths, so they are not qualified, right?
Yeah,
So
deeper into the pool, right?
So now,
yeah.
so now you have a board of 10 people, you have a chairman and 9 women who don't know what they're doing and know that they don't know what they're doing. So what happens then? That one guy is running the show.
Yeah, and it's a very sort of subtle way to break down more structure, isn't it? Because they're bringing in people to tick a box, and they're bringing like those 4 female farmers. Are they good farmers? If they are, excellent. They just happen
And if
to
they're
have a
not,
vagina.
they're going to be insecure and they're going to defer to you.
Yeah, and we're ticking the box to bring in these BIPOCs. So are they good farmers? Okay, great. They can come and join the rank. If they're not,
Are they
okay,
gonna
then
make
the whole
decisions?
structure starts to break down
And
because there's these unqualified people running the show. But there's also there's this real push for the female energy too. If you want to sort of look at it in a more spiritual standpoint, you only have to go to WEF or probably the United Nations. I haven't really read about it that much there, but a couple of years ago, I could see very clearly there was a very big push to get all these women, get the women power in there, the women energy. They want the female divine, the feminine divine matriarch structure. It's really obvious, even down to the the false flags like we just had in Sydney with the stabbing at the Westfield shopping centre. The
women and children.
Yes, and the assailant was shot by a female cop.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
is now being, hailed as a hero, for doing the job that she signed up for.
Paraded around, yeah.
Yep. And funnily enough, no actual photos of her face, but not that I've seen. But yeah, just the point being that
she's probably ugly. That's why they don't want to show any pictures. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It might not even exist. I mean,
that's more likely. Yeah.
But I think,
I mean, don't quote me. There might be some.
I think it's because it's easier to dominate underqualified people and perhaps also women.
Well, the thing bothered me so much because my friend, the guy that I work with and now patronize with my, I buy a lot of material from him for my business. In essence, I'm trying to be vague. Fuck it. He has a nursery and a farm. I buy plants from him to put in my gardens for my clients. And we have a very good relationship. We're friends. We like each other. We've partied. We've had good times. And so it really bothered me because I saw his name on that list, right? And so the comment that I was proudest of was, how long until Jonas? Oh, I shouldn't have said it. Too late. How long until he's off the board because he's white and has a dick? In essence,
one guy can stay and run the show.
Well, and maybe he's going to benefit from that dynamic. I don't
what I
think he would do it intentionally, but like, no, he's probably the most qualified. You know, out of those 10 people, I bet you he bears 30 to 50% of the burden. If I just had to guess, it was his thing always. You know, he started it. And like, I'm like, dude, you're getting pushed out of your own shit. Wake up.
They're also saying that the actual foundation for their decisions is DEI now. So like, what's the purpose of the board? You know, like, what is the purpose of the board? To make decisions that help the commune or what?
Well, so that's part of their problem is they're doing the whole commie thing. And it's actually, you know, it's a lesson to learn, you know. They're trying to be very collective about everything. And what happened, you know, the backstory that I got talking to the guy directly, you know, I basically said, "Are you getting bullied by somebody?" And he goes, "Yeah." in a nutshell.
Who?
Well, it was the Black Farmers Collective.
See, that's the thing.
Go figure.
You ever read A Man in Full by Tom Wolfe?
Uh-uh.
It's about Atlanta politics, and there's a Jesse Jackson character who's just like, well, you can do it. We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah. No,
guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just need to jump in here.
Sure.
Laura needs to
yeah,
split,
yeah.
so I just wanted to just say a big, huge thank you to Laura for joining
Laura,
us today
thank
again.
you.
Always great to have you, and always an open invitation.
I want to
thanks for
do
being here.
some homework, Laura, and then I want to talk. I put the Avro Manhattan thing in the chat.
Oh, awesome. I see it. Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
it should be interesting. So I want to do a little homework. So I am more than just a listener, and let's have that conversation.
Okay, definitely, girl. Definitely. Thank y'all so much for
Great to
having
meet
me
you.
on, man. You guys are hilarious. I could just sit and listen all day. I got to split this. Thank you, Stella, for asking me to be on. Love talking to you guys.
We'd love to have you back, Laura. Yeah.
Love you guts.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
See ya. Bless you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yes. Oh, and please send us your website, Laura. Link your new website.
Okay, I sure will.
Do you want to just say that quickly before you go? Your new website is going to be?
If it doesn't close out before, it's cleansethebloodline.com.
Great. Excellent. All right. Hope it goes well. Your launch.
It's cleanse.
Oh, no.
How did that happen?
Wow. Weird. She said, like, I hope it happens before I go out. I don't know what that means.
I think there's a sort of like a 30-second. Okay, it's going.
Oh, no.
You're muted, Ando.
They'll find it.
You're muted, Ando.
Oh, I think it has all of her links. I'll make sure that it works out. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slash making a big assumption that that you remember that Phytophiliac just started a new website, right?
Yes.
And I bet she helped Laura start her website because they are off the air friends. So there you go.
Is Phytophiliac a mutual friend of ours, Stella?
Mutual friend of everyone.
You probably
was it somebody from the Propaganda Report days?
No, the WTF Forum, the one that with Laura. That
I've heard her. Yeah, but I just didn't know who.
Fido was on there.
Somebody we knew. Yeah.
No, actually, she might have been part of the Propaganda Report crew at some point. She does music. She's also a nurse. Yeah. Interesting combo.
So I'm friends with Fido from Media Monarchy. And
nice.
Yeah.
James Evan Plato.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
Now he's a Canadian with a sense of humor I can understand.
He's from West Virginia.
Oh, well, that would fucking explain it. He hangs out with Canadians, though.
Who's the Canadian?
James Corbett.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
Now, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's probably cracking jokes left and right. You'd never know it.
You know, I keep thinking like this weird world of internet personalities is getting bigger and yet smaller all at once, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. It
Yeah.
is getting ridiculously big, and also to the point where I think the zone has been flooded And
certainly flooded.
I'm
but I assume cream rises,
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna give up on it, but on doing it. But I have to say, and I've been predicting this actually for a while. Let's see if it happens. But when it really started just surging, where there's just a million podcasts, and then you see like, the wave of how it's like they were all libertarians, and then they were post-libertarians, and then they're, now they're like fucking Christian nationalists, and then you just get a little, woo.
Yeah,
So,
you do wonder.
and eventually,
Wait. This is totally my path right here. What's going on here,
sorry,
Monica?
sweetie. But here's the thing: like, you go for it. But in my mind, podcasts take a lot of time and money. So, I mean, not a lot, but they take a lot of time. I mean, they have to be if you're going to catch on and you're going to actually get some reach or sell some ads or whatever, it's a lot of effort. And I feel like there isn't going to be an eternal pipeline to keep it, it really gushing. So a lot of people will just stop doing it.
I just don't trust anybody that gets into podcasting that's trying to make money out of it.
Oh, why not?
I mean, this is just something we do, like it.
Yeah, but I mean, the money thing is much less bad than when they're trying to make money. Right. I trust them a little more than when they're not trying to make money.
Wait a minute.
You got a point.
I'm backwards.
Because why are they doing it? It's when I see someone who's obviously a grifter, I'm like, oh, well, he's just trying to make money. But if he's got some loft and he's not trying to make money, I think, well, someone's sending him a check. Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
No, we work.
No, I know what you are talking about. I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking about me.
Yeah, you mean the really intense researchers that do it.
Yeah, I'm just talking about people who have a lot of presence. People
like
who
Tim
dominate.
Pool.
I don't know. I actually don't follow him. The problem with me is like there are a lot of podcasts I don't actually everybody listens to. I don't listen to. But I'm just saying, yeah, maybe. But so there's two ways they can make money. They can either be big time, in which case they have their parameters that they must stay within, whether they're told, because I was on the radio. I mean, people were telling me, don't say that. People freak out. I'm like, well, fuck it. I don't care. I'm saying it. And they were like, well, then what if you get fired? I'm like, I don't care. That would be great because I'm nervous about this anyway. I don't like it. So, but there were parameters that were never written down, but it was very clear what they were. But then there are people who are sponsored by people behind the scenes. I'm not talking about sponsored by like Element. I'm talking about like they have a donor that, isn't the face guy, but so somebody who's, so I understand.
No, like makes a lot of money, and all the Bitcoin he got. Like Fuentes, all the Bitcoin that Fuentes got. Remember, he got canceled off of everything, and then somebody out of the blue just gave him Bitcoin. And
I just
Bitcoin made sure that Fuentes has that nice, that nice apartment in Chicago and is a millionaire.
Yeah,
and,
it's weird. It's just
you got to keep Fuentes on the air. You got to keep guys like that on the air because
that's the thing. So when I see somebody who's just like conniving to sell books and constantly calling me like, can I go on your show? Can I go on your show? Can I go on your show? I'm like, well, at least the guy's not a Fed.
He's hustling.
Yeah, he's hustling. And yes, he's going to say whatever is the next best, the next big thing. And sometimes they're edgelords and sometimes they're whatever.
Well, hey, Monica, can I come on your show and sell my book?
Sure.
Sweet.
If you promise me that no one is watching this show right now, I will tell you a secret.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's watching.
It's just us and the other 9.
I never say no.
Never say no?
I never say no. Someday I will get burned by that, but I never say no. But I can never say out loud that I never say no because then I would get actually 100 requests. But I never say no.
We could talk about less crazy stuff, potentially. I don't know.
I don't care what you talk about. Say whatever you want.
Well, I'm a gardener. I like talking about gardening.
Let's talk about gardens. I'm actually winding down. I told Stella, I'm like, I don't think I'm really
Monica grows chickens.
I'm going to, in pots, out of eggs.
She plants eggs and she gets chickens. It's incredible.
Wow. Well, I have eggs and chickens in my fridge. So you tell me. You tell me how they got there.
I'm going to have to learn from you. You know something I don't. Yeah.
Laura just left, but Laura also grows chickens. So
yeah,
it's like the alchemy of eggs.
Well, to me, I only say that because it's not totally unrelated. Like, I'm about guns and gardens, more or less.
Yeah, great.
As just a personal philosophy, like.
Yeah, you have to. It's better to dedicate your life to that, really, I think, than podcasting, because that's something that you have to be really, really good at. You have to really grok it. And can you fucking believe that Elon Musk stole that fucking word
from Heinlein?
Pisses me off.
Which word?
Grok. I don't know what that means. I had
such a great word too.
It's such a great word. It means to understand deeply. And he made it some fucking Twitter thing. And he's such a piece of shit. Not that Heinlein wasn't probably a fucking, military intelligence. He probably was. But I don't care. Give me fucking Graham Greene. Give me the guys who work for it. Give me the limited hangouts that can write, just give me something for the effort. Elon Musk, it just doesn't do it for me. And he has, for him to steal such a good word. But yes, you need to grok guns and gardens. And so if you spend your entire life dedicated to that, I will hear what you're saying. I will be interested in what you're saying.
Well, I got some stuff that I said earlier today, if you want to hear that.
Sure. Tell me what you got.
What's going on, y'all?
Forgive the audio quality, but here you go.
Garden walk around tour for you. This one's nearly done. Last step is a sheet mulching with straw and cardboard, but this is actually my sister's garden that I'm helping them get set up, and I'm quite proud of it. Check this thing out. So we fenced in the entire area, and we cut all the sod right here and dug out the pathways, built up beds, put some compost down.
Wow.
Used up all that sod, basically flipped it upside down to build up these beds, and that'll break down and turn into really good worm food.
Yeah.
The compost is just kind of a top dressing here, but
so are we going to see this
idea
evolve over time?
I can certainly bring updates.
Are we going to watch it grow?
This is a brand spanking new garden.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and my sister's pretty much taking it from here,
Yeah, well, she should give us updates.
I agree. Yeah, it's whatever. It's a little me-centric, but you can learn a lot about gardening just with simple,
trial and error.
And I'd say simple tips and tricks like this. Let me just finish this out. It's like one more minute.
We're nice and mounded up. There's different ways of doing raised, quote unquote, raised beds. You don't always have to build a box to hold in the soil, right? So you see here, it's kind of built up, mounded like so. We've got probably a solid, 6 inches of mulch. That's going to keep all that soil where it's supposed to be. And then we're layering cardboard and straw on top of the beds to keep the weeds at bay. Gonna do a little tomato trellis, Florida weave style off of these posts. Obviously they're not planted yet. It's still too early, but we're getting there. And out here, where we did not cut the sod, we're doing a little micro orchard. Haven't gotten the trees yet, but we're going to go with some dwarf fruit trees, probably 12 feet tall at their max. So I think we can probably fit a good, 10 or 12 in here. And, we did this fence kind of simple, rough, just functionality. Keep the deer out. They get dozens of deer going through this yard. So, we may eventually go to something a little more pretty, but this will work for at least a few years. And got this gate from Tractor Supply. I love these gates. They've got the man door.
How satisfying. Did you put that fence yourself, or got a fence guy?
You don't know who you're dealing with, Monica.
Looks great.
Did he just say Mandor?
Mandor. That's what
Well,
my
that's
sister
a
said.
Mandor
Bloody
instead of
racist.
a
That's what
no.
my sister said. The same
It's just
thing.
not an animal door or a garage door. It's a
Bingo.
Mandor.
My
It's a
sister made the
Vador.
same joke.
Ooh,
I go,
man.
shut up. I go, that's just what it's called. Don't even. I'm sick of
I
people
love that
Can't help it.
renaming
It's so
shit.
it's such a necessary thing to distinguish.
Yeah.
Like, because if you have a garage, it has a man door and it has a door for the car.
Bingo.
Yeah, well, there's the
Go the man doors
manhole.
around the back.
Yeah, a manhole.
Manhole.
And that's not the same as a glory hole.
See, this is the
but-
thing.
Person
By making people distinguish male and female, he or she, blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
It used to be that man, male,
They or
whatever
Like
he
mankind.
referred to everybody. Now it only refers to men. Now I'm excluded. I used to not be excluded.
All men are created equal.
Yeah.
Exactly, but not women.
Mm.
The fuck?
Yeah, we got boobs. Just a big
I
shout
think
out
that
to
makes
Joe.
you. I think that makes you
It's
greater.
the great
Of
equalizer.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
We won.
We run the show.
Boobies always win. Boobs win. I'm just saying,
I just rediscovered a blog post I wrote a long time ago about Bewitched. I would watch Bewitched with my 9-year-old daughter and my 8-year-old son. And I read, like, and then I was watching Mad Men. And I was thinking about the feminine mystique and cute. Oh, hey, Joe. So I thought, was Bewitched super sexist? Like, those days are depicted as totally sexist. And I asked my kids, or my daughter said to me, oh, I looked up, I stumbled upon the word sexist in the dictionary. She said I was looking up something else. I was like, really? What were you looking up? What was next to sexist?
Sex.
So then I told,
Yeah,
so,
what is sex? Yeah.
but I asked
Wow.
her, I asked them
Wow.
if they thought, it was sexist or, what the story, now that they know what it means, what it was, they both 100% were like, women obviously run the show. They're like, every time, Larry and Darren are talking about business and the secretary walks in, I mean, they just drop everything, pull out a chair, bring her a drink. Of course, she's blah, blah, blah. And my daughter says, and Larry, he was sitting there in bed the other day reading a women's magazine. And I was like, that was a girly magazine. But I get your point. She's like, they're just obsessed with women. I mean, it's all about the women and they have to go work. They have to spend all their time working and then they come home and they just hope that they get one smooch at the door. Right. So it's all in, I guess it's easily, it was easy to mess up those perceptions. But yes, I definitely think that women lost something in that transaction.
It seems to be coming back, though. I think people are recognizing that. I mean, I've even heard somebody was talking about, might have been you, Monica. Some of the ladies are saying, oh, I actually really enjoy looking after my husband. I didn't realize.
I sent you the podcast because that was on.
Yeah.
That's what Tripoli and Poikinen were talking about when they were talking about controlled opposition. And I thought that was kind of a nice thing. And I've told you, like, I've said that I was totally bamboozled into thinking that, like, I needed to have a career and that having, being a mother had no particular value. Was it an afterthought? You could get somebody else to do it. And I really lost valuable time. I mean, looks like my kids are turning out okay, which is a fucking miracle. But it seems okay. But I could have done a much, much better job. But I think that lockdown was highly, quote, regressive in that regard because people lost their jobs. Somebody had to stay home. And I mean, the kids weren't allowed to go to school here for, I think, a year and a half. I mean, I have a son who has Down syndrome. Like if I had a job, like an outside of the home job, I would have had to quit.
It's true though, too, because I remember, filling out certain forms and things through my life when I was married, having children, and you'd fill out a form. I remember it actually happened one day. They actually articulated it. I put, occupation, and I said home duties, because that's what I was. I was a mum. And the person, whoever it was, just looked at me and said, oh, you mean unemployed? It's like,
whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm employed. I'm
Um,
just unpaid.
yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been done. You sit down and you sort of put together, well, I'm a counselor, I'm a cook, and you put down all the hourly rates. It's like, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 a week or something.
Yeah,
You're
when
not
you
getting.
go to get insurance, life insurance, I don't know if anybody's had this experience, but my husband, like the idea that I would not be there to take care of, especially this special kid and everything, like had 3 kids in diapers at one point, like terrified him. So he wanted to get just a butt ton of insurance on me. And if you are asking for more insurance than somebody's worth, they won't let you get it because they don't want you to kill them.
Oh,
Isn't that funny?
wow.
So they had to calculate what my worth was. And yeah. And I think it was something crazy like $385,000 a year. And then you can like NPV it back. So I think he was able to get like $1 million or something. But yes, they actually
Wow.
went through all the roles
Mhm.
and
Put
it
a
was
dollar
quite a lot.
value on everything. That's incredible. It's intimidating.
This is exactly what you guys are talking
See,
about.
I just got the high sign. Like,
What's that now?
what is? Oh my gosh, my husband must be listening to this. He said, I have $3 million of insurance on you.
Huh, hilarious.
He just
Oh,
told me that.
how romantic.
Hilarious.
How is he
Very
listening to
romantic.
this? Are you
Well-
listening to this through the glass?
We are live. We are
Careful what you say.
Shit.
You're being monitored.
Who
no
knew?
all of the roles of a mother.
Oh my gosh.
He's got the receipts.
Yeah,
Love
he's
it.
definitely. Oh my gosh. That can't be true. They can't have given him that much insurance.
very
Now I'm
sweet.
worried.
Well, just don't die.
Yeah, be a good girl.
Yeah.
You better be sure nobody's listening to this. They're causing me trouble. No, we have a very strong relationship.
That's good.
That's good to know.
Very strong relationship. Because then he got a bunch on himself.
And you're not
as
suicidal.
well. No. Oh my gosh. No, I have I had a heart monitor on for 10 days. Like I'm perfect. But there's no, dropping dead. But I got a lot, he got it on himself, whatever. And the insurance agency said, are you 100% positive your wife loves you? And it's just like, yes. And I am. I do. You put all this time in. It'll be our 25th anniversary this year.
Awesome.
Oh,
And you put all this time in and like to start over and the nightmare I've heard about Tinder and everything. Oh my God.
Oh, it's the worst.
There's a reason that I'm single.
Yeah, it's not cool. And I just think
staying
like
that way.
I'm getting old and he's getting old, whatever. But he, this is our old, like to have like some other like, new wrinkles smushing together.
I know.
I just, I feel like you want to just clean them with a Q-tip. Like I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Look,
this has been
sometimes I
vetted.
must admit, I do look around at, I mean, let's admit it, the place where I live, there's not a lot of prospects, okay? I do look around and I just think, oh, wow, you're actually probably my age, even though you look old.
I know.
And I just think, oh, I wonder how many years you've got in you before you'd need, some sort of, penal boring or
That's
some
another
sort of
thing.
medical issue that I would have to be bringing you, cleaning your nappies. And I don't know. I'm
No,
just
I've
not,
totally thought that. I'm like, watch out for the sick ones.
Yeah.
No.
How healthy are you? Show me your medical report and we'll
Yeah.
be served dinner.
No, I do not want to go down that road. And like, I feel like I wouldn't, I feel like I would just be like the matriarch, just like let it go. No more for me. I'm done. But yeah, so we're good.
As kids.
The psyop of trying to keep the mother out of their own home is definitely real.
Yes, and having somebody else raise your children for you.
Yeah.
The state.
Well, these screens do it.
Well,
the
and
screens are doing it. Yeah,
I
my
can't
daughter,
believe-
like the amount that gets in your brain from these fucking things.
Yeah.
I can't believe the whole calling a mother unemployed. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I take offense to that insinuation at its base.
They're paying
I was offended.
caregivers in California now. So like I could apply to get paid to watch my son. And a lot of people are doing it because that's what they want to do it. And I understand, but it just takes just when you had the chance to like earn heaven,
Well,
they just make you swap it out for $15 an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably qualify for a carer's thing, but there's no
Yeah, I'm
freaking
sure.
way I'm going back into that system because they want to
Yeah.
know every single wart that you've ever had in your life, you know?
Yeah. And they
You
come
should see the
check on you.
forms you got to fill out.
They come
Yeah,
check
no,
on you
screw
at the
that.
house.
I've worked very, very hard to stay off the system.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to try to maintain that as long as I possibly can. So
I'm a conservator for my son, and so like he's an adult, and I have to every year the court checks to make sure that he's happy and healthy. So she was gonna just go to the school to talk to him, which is fine. I didn't care. I didn't need to be there. But I told him, I was like, hey, don't say anything crazy. Don't tell her about your whatever. We do. He's a 21-year-old man with a Down syndrome, like whatever y'all goes on in y'all's heads comes out his fucking mouth in words, and I don't know what that is, but I don't want I just said, hey, whatever, don't tell her anything, weird or inappropriate. Like she's a lady, she doesn't need to know anything but that you're safe and happy, healthy. Goes right in there. First thing he says is, my mother thinks it's weird and twisted and doesn't want you to know.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Blah, all the things that I think and I was just like, are you out of your mind? And, of course, just so stay out of the system, Stella.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have been in the system before and it's just horrible.
Yeah. And I try to tell them, they don't take me out of the home. Yeah.
I have a very, very, very deep-seated hatred for the system. Like,
they don't love you.
No.
They're there. No. They act like they love you.
They hurt me bad.
I feel like I shouldn't have been laughing.
Yeah, they did hurt you bad.
They hurt me.
Everything worked out in the end, right? Like,
yes, only because there are crazier kids than he is, and this is LA. Like he's in the LA system, even though we're in like kind of the suburbs. So that's nothing. You know what I mean? Like they really were just trying to make sure that he's doesn't have festering sores or whatever.
Yeah.
So we can't end on that note, though.
No.
I'm being summoned to make to be specific, a Negroni variation that I have made big promises about. So I have to deliver on that.
Right on. Well, yeah, if you got to go, I was going to share this.
We can't end on festering sores.
No.
I mean, you got to say something else.
No. Here we go. I got something for you. It's about the, all the things that a mother does. It's not as simple as just
fantastic.
being a homemaker, if you will. See the light. Oh, it's got music. I thought it was going to have talking, but
that's all right.
You want the music? Okay, here we go.
It doesn't matter. How long is it?
Oh, it's just a minute.
Yeah, so we can tolerate music for a minute.
Okay, well, I thought I'd read it. So
go for it.
Okay. She says she's an artist, a nurse, a travel journalist, a baker, a trainer, an event planner, a singer, a writer, a teacher, a personal trainer, a gardener, a nutritionist, a therapist, an astrologist, motivational speaker. I found that motherhood showed me everything I wanted to be. It started by saying I spent the first part of my life trying to decide what I wanted to be.
See, I missed all that stuff. I spent the entire time being like, what do you eat? What do kids eat? I don't know. What do you want? Well, I don't know because I'm 2. I don't know I don't know. I ate bagels. Let's have bagels. Like, I just didn't know I didn't know anything. I gave a lot of hugs. This was the one thing I did. So like those kind of videos, I'm like, how did you know that when the kid was 2? How did you know to do all that stuff? Who's the energy when you're pregnant? So the one thing I did was they always were trying to send therapists over because my son had Down syndrome, and it was like super irritating, and they had no basis for the things that they were doing. Like I would look, like I said to Laura, like, just give me the thing. I need to look up what it is so I can understand what you're saying to me. And there was never anything but theory behind it. So the only solid evidence was that the difference between institutionalized, isolated children and children who were not institutional and isolated, uh, they were better off not being like locked in a crib by themselves. So I took that and I ran with it.
Go
And I was
figure.
like,
Go
as long as
figure.
right,
No shit.
as long as I gave a lot of, I always feel like physical contact is important and verbalizing. I would even like if a kid makes a sound to you, if you make that sound back, then they understand that they are successfully communicating. That's it. I cared about communication and physical comfort, and that was it. And I feel like it was enough. It's the furry monkey. The
Yeah,
furry
yeah.
monkey
I was only
theory.
reading that just very recently, actually. I always
Yeah,
think of you.
yeah, there's like no difference. There's a wire monkey and your kids are psychos. There's a real monkey and your kids are fine. And then there's a wire monkey covered in fur and the kids are pretty fine. So there's a wire
Hilarious.
monkey covered in
Wow.
fur.
Not really
Wow.
rocket science, is it?
No.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so simple. You just have to hug them. But of course, if you're at work,
Time.
you're not able to hug them.
Yeah.
That's the one
Exactly.
thing that you're not talking to them, you're not validating them. I mean, all you have to do is be there. That's what my mother always said. You just have to be there. Or she would say, you just have to be there.
Time is the ultimate currency, and I've got to say, thank you so much for spending your time with us.
It's
Yeah.
been an
Because,
absolute pleasure.
we
Thank
very
you.
much
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
if the $1 million man weren't going like this to me and the
Cocktail hour, come on.
$1 million.
through the window.
Hey, if I were him, I'd sleep with one eye open.
Me too. Me too. We're both in the same boat. So, well, anyway, we'll have to do it again. This was super,
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
fun. Thank
Always
you so
welcome.
much for including me. And I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, Monica. Thanks.
Thank
Love
you,
you guts.
Monica.
See ya. Excellent. That worked out well. I'm glad everybody turned up.
Yeah, good fun. Good fun.
Excellent.
To be honest, I might be trying to go to sleep. I'm tired. This is a big week.
Yeah.
that garden wore me the hell out, but
Wait a second. Are we gonna have a reasonable what the fuck this week?
a reasonable. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah,
2.5.
reasonable. Yes.
2.5.
We're
I think
still in
they're
that
all-
zone.
Well, they all teeter on the edge of unreasonable in one way or another,
We could let our listeners off lightly this time.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Any final comments? I'm tapped.
Well, I saw that Drew's in the comments.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Or Stella said that Drew was in the comments. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
If Drew, if you're out there, you know how to get in here. Get in here, buddy. Because tomorrow's Red Heifer Day.
I think he was probably between classes or something like that.
Oh
He
no. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say. But I
Yeah.
reckon he
Yeah.
might be a bit shadow banned because we could see his comment on StreamYard, but I couldn't see it in YouTube.
It's on X.
I think we're all a little bit shadow banned.
It's his comments
Little
from
bit.
X.
Ah. So are you saying-
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that gets
Ah,
merged
all right.
in with YouTube on StreamYard. There
Yep.
we go. We learned something. Well, I did.
There you go.
I learned something.
I can't see the comments
a
on
big
YouTube.
pool.
Or sorry, I can't see the comments on X. Like I go on X and I don't even see where you can comment.
I call it Zwitter. I'm not letting him get away with X. No.
Twitter, yeah.
Hmm.
I've got Twitter and and it's the new everything app and
It's like somebody should turn him off and on again. He needs a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His brain chip has a short circuit, I think, but I don't know.
Made in China.
Right.
So no. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Made in DARPA. I mean,
It's the old version.
Everything that Elon's ever done has been funded by the United States government, and every idea that Elon came up with was created by DARPA. Elon is a character, an image, and that's what he is. And if you read the Bible, you know what images are.
Created character, 100%. Biblically, you know what images are.
Exactly.
You want to expand on that?
So, a lot of times it's in Revelation, I believe 13, talking about breathing life into the image. And this is Elon that we're talking about currently, the brain chip guy, the guy that wants to insert a fucking chip in your brain. But he's also the free speech guy. By the way, how great is fucking free speech? I mean, it's great whenever the regime fucking sucks, but whenever you're looking at this stuff and you've got people that, you know, the free speech is fucking cockroach milk or fuck a furry or, you know, like you know, like the fucking evil shit, the fucking satanic shit. It's like maybe we should also rethink that a little bit.
There's some stuff going on at the moment with Australia and Elon because the stabbing of the priest, Mari, the priest that was the Orthodox priest that was giving his sermon, and the dude came up and stabbed him, allegedly. Australia
right, you couldn't see a blood or knife or anything. That's really weird.
Yeah. But Australia are sort of saying we want that footage taken off. Well, Australia, I don't know who it is exactly. That woman they've put in charge of the censorship. So this is like her first gig, I suppose. They want it taken down off Twitter, and they're severely criticizing Elon because, you know, he's above the law. He thinks he's above the law. And so here comes the free speech thing, you know, hero Elon standing up for free speech while he still censors people. But regardless, don't look at that bit. Australia are a little bit upset at the moment with Twitter. Yeah, I think you're muted, man.
Oh, I am. Sorry about that. But yeah, we need to look at that, you know, and yeah, we're on the losing edge of things. So, you know, by all means, free speech. But, you know, whenever we end up on the winning edge of things, by no means should we allow free speech to fucking poison children. You know, like this, like we can't allow the shit that's going on right now. We can't allow the perverse shit that's happening to people.
There's furries in my niece and nephew's school.
Because the standards, scripture's been taken out of school, the standards of society, etc. I mean, that was happening decades ago. The standards of society are no longer based on the moralistic. There's no morals. The biblical thing has all been taken out under the guise of free thought, freedom of thought, and not hurting other people and their religions or whatever. So now the guideline is purely just based on law and tyranny, really, in a sense. There's no sort of moral guide. At the majority, there certainly isn't. So I think, you know, this far right swing that we're currently watching just the very beginning of, it's going to be huge. That I think is going to bring it back in such a big way that it's going to be a little bit too big. That sort of seems to be the general consensus of what's coming. And of course, we're going to have, it's been said that around July, August sort of time, around the Olympics, is going to be a bit of could be a troublesome time.
I wonder if you guys saw this. I just found it, but this is about like the Twitter, or I'm sorry, the furry thing.
Oh, is this Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Wearing a mask every day?
Yes. But every time they go, they're always just wearing a mask. But the principal finally stood up and banned those stuff. But they still wear them every day, and they don't get in trouble. The principal doesn't make them get in trouble. Yeah. All the principal says is just be kind, be nice, and then.
What's the point of dressing up like a furry?
I don't know. They think they're so cool that they want to get a lot of attention. They want attention. so people can come at them and just look at them and think that they're so cool.
Okay.
Also,
Are you guys going to be in trouble for walking out of school today?
No, maybe. We might. If we look back on school grounds, we will get in trouble. Hopefully not. We're standing for our rights. We're standing for what the furries are wrong. This is wrong. They should not be doing
Do your parents know you guys are out here?
Yes.
Okay.
They attack us. If they find us and we just kick them, we get in trouble. They attack us. They attack us and we get in trouble.
And how else do they attack you guys?
They bite us, they scratch us, they bark at us, they pounce on us, and then they run on all.
Why are they spraying you with Febreze?
Just because we apparently have rabies. And there's a rumor that they were putting litter boxes in the girls' bathroom and the boys.
I heard that was just a rumor.
No, it's true.
Is this something you've seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can't talk or say anything to the furries or even look at them, but they can come look at us and they can say stuff to us and touch us, and they can no matter what, we get in trouble.
Interesting. That sounds like a double standard to me.
Yes.
Okay, you guys stay on the sidewalk, okay?
They pounce on us. Litter boxes in the bathroom.
Okay, so believe it or not, we had one girl. I remember it was like middle school. Pretty sure she grew out of it, but like at recess, I guess it was like we had what was called intermediate school. I don't think we had recess anymore in middle school, but whatever. Intermediate was like 5th grade, right? 5th and 6th. And I remember this girl would gallop around acting like she was riding a horse and shit. And she would get up in our faces and like neigh at us and just be weird. And everybody basically shunned her, which is like the natural instinct of humans. Like, this person is fucking psycho. Like, just ignore her, like there's no reasoning with her. You can't hit her. So she's just shunned.
Stick a saddle on her.
I guess it was so weird though, but like, so this is like an extension of that, like psychosis, I suppose, but like mixed with like anime culture, fucking Hello Kitty and shit.
Yeah, it's been very subtle, and it's from very, very young age too, isn't it? Like all the Hello Kitty stuff that's been around for a long time, and that's like they really target the babies now. Like there's a market for targeting little tiny children, whereas that sort of didn't really exist so much before. It was kind of like babies were just babies and they were just with their parents, and then when they got older then there was a bit of a market for them to advertise to and all that kind of thing. But now it's like they're just marketing towards babies, and they are sucking it in because they've got screens in front of them.
Well, and it's all like
as soon as they hatch.
It's all the bizarro, like cartoony anime style, like characters. Whereas I feel like when I was a kid, it was a little more like, I don't know. There was like the weird stuff, but like, I don't know, cartoons and stuff. It was like, I don't know. It's not the same. I feel like it's all gotten fetishized in one way or another, and like, it translates into this weird cosplay, but like, I don't know. Part of it is probably a symptom of kids being locked up at the public school to begin with.
Yeah, kids having kids.
Well, and weird cliques appear, the they thems multiply, right? Like,
yeah, and it's such an agenda because as the kids the kids have got more sense, obviously, than the teachers. The teachers are, just get along with them. Don't, you're not allowed to defend yourself. I mean, obviously, they're either brainwashed or paid off, one of the two, probably both. But they're obviously the generation. I mean, I bet they're all quite young teachers, brainwashed themselves severely. I don't know when this furry thing started. It's only sort of come to light for me in very recent years, but I get the feeling it's been around for a little while.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, I remember in 2012 or so, 2013, there was a neighbor kid, and he said that he went and he made friends with the furries at a hotel or something like that. And he was 14 years old, and he was developmentally disabled, and we were like, I lived in a punk house at the time, and we were like, do not hang around with those guys. Those guys are not your friends. And he's like, no, they always say that everybody's against them and everything. And like, he's just like giving this whole thing about they already told him what to say whenever somebody said that they're perverts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
it's a cult.
Yeah. Well, it's also a cult that fucks with kids.
Yeah. Yeah, because
would kids be fucking doing this shit if somebody didn't influence the kids?
Exactly.
This is not something, I mean, like, fuck you, furries. Like, I know, like, I listen to No Agenda all the time. He's like, oh yeah, we got furries in the audience and they're friends or whatever. I don't want a fucking dime from you furries. I fuck off, you fucking sick fucking faggot perverts. Sorry.
Yeah, go and get some counseling.
Yeah.
I mean, how appealing would it be for children or young people, or even more so, vulnerable, mentally challenged people, to furries? I mean, that would be so appealing. It'd be like having a pet, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like, having the toy pet, only it moves and talks and you can interact with it. It's just so weird. So yeah, it's just like dealing
It's predatory. It's definitely
preying,
predatory.
yes, preying on the vulnerable.
Yeah.
The vulnerable
and highly dystopian, if I may.
Yeah. And it's really sick whenever you're living in this clown world that we're in, and we see all the shit that they're doing. Like they've got trannies nursing kids and stuff. It's like we're living in this particular clown world.
Yeah, well, see, even the clown world thing, it's all been made light of, like all this stuff that is actually really serious and really quite nefarious and demonic is being made light of. So it's sort of like, we'll laugh at the guy with the lassie suit in Japan, whatever. It's like 14 grand. What an idiot. But, what is driving this is the thing that, Satan's greatest weapon is that people don't believe that he exists, and I hate even saying he, because it's not a, I don't know, whatever. I just think it's more forces than people. But anyway,
right.
Let's not go there.
It's complicated, it's like there's the adversary, there's Satan, there's Lucifer,
exactly.
There's everyone who turns.
And all these angels that are, apparently like clown faces come from these horrible angels and all that sort of thing. I think Laura was telling me that. Yeah. It's so blatantly obvious, and yet it's still being hugely missed. It's almost like people who haven't woken to the spiritual level of what's going on, they're just too embarrassed almost to admit that there might be something there, because it's always that change thing is always a big hesitation for people, because it means if they admit that, there's a huge amount of change that's going to probably happen in their life, and like, who wants that? Nobody really. Change is a hassle, but necessary. So I don't know. There is a great awakening. So it's a bit of it's a human race. The human race is on.
It seems like a race to the bottom. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think just once again, cream rises, and like the dumber everyone else gets, the smarter we look. But maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
What are you gonna do? Furries in the schools.
What are you gonna do, eh?
Hey, I say pull your damn kids out of the damn schools, because they're fucked up.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's necessity, actually.
Yeah.
Now that everybody sort of knows, and stop treating school like a freaking babysit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to have children,
take responsibility. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tall order in this world, but that's by design, man. Like, I was listening, just the hidden costs of home ownership are so high.
Yeah, that's
between property tax rates going up to, the price of everything, There's tons and
I-
tons of reasons why people
Like-
are no longer able to buy a home, and let
It's still
alone
cheaper than
have a
renting.
single income household, right? Sorry, Ando, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than renting, and you have something in the long run. So, like, if you're renting, you're dumping money into somebody else's investment.
Yeah. Dead money.
And so
Yeah.
the only thing is, buying means you have to put money up front. So I know that a lot of people can't just afford to just save up and just slap it down in the end. If you can afford to do that, then you don't have to deal with a lot of the bullshit. You still get fucked in some ways, because they're gonna get theirs, but the thing is, like, don't get involved in the rent scam. The rent scam is such a scam. It's so pervasive. It's so fucking powerful. And if you look at the people it's funding, it's not who you want to be involved with. So do what you can to get yourself a place.
I intend to. Yeah. Luckily, my rent's real cheap. That's why I live in a garage.
Right. And the guy that you're
Yeah.
that you're involved with there, and it's a mutual agreement and everything like that. But
he raised my rent one time. He raised it $30.
Yeah. And y'all had a conversation about it before it happened.
Yeah, literally face to face. I was like,
yeah.
I'm like, that's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just getting harder because, the generation when I was, saving up, buying houses and things, had mortgages and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In our day, our parents would usually go guarantor for us. So, we could put our deposit down and they would be the guarantor, and the bank would go, cool, no worries.
Yeah.
And then they sort of started bringing in this whole point system thing, and that got a little bit tighter and harder. And it just got tighter and tighter. And now it's like the generations have sort of gone on, and people aren't quite as rich anymore because everything's so much harder and more expensive, and there's all these extra
Devalued.
things, and
Devalued. Yeah.
so that doesn't happen so much. So it's pretty hard. I really feel for young people now, setting out, even people your age, you're still young, but
only for so long.
Happy birthday for last week.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Did you have a nice day?
I did. I ended up not getting as much done as I intended. I was up, at my sister's building the garden, and big heavy rain came down the night before.
Oh, muddy.
And just got everything muddy. I had already cut the sod and exposed a bunch of dirt, and it turned into slop. So
rats.
I just took a day off, hung out, spent some time with the family. It was all good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice quiet one.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to tell you something just completely off topic.
Okay.
Because I've been sort of keeping my eyes on the weather a little bit more lately, since I've been sort of learning a bit more about geoengineering and also sorting out the myths, what's not geoengineering. But anyway, long story short, my mum's been keeping rain gauge measurements for like decades. She always does. And it was interesting to look. I was looking at her rain gauge thing because we're currently, we're pretty much on the edge. There could be some flooding. There's some flooding up in Queensland at the moment, again, or still not sure which. It's heavy. Anyway, there was a couple of days during April where there was very heavy rainfall, and I'm sorry I haven't converted them to inches, but 81 millimeters, which was about 3 3/4 inches, happened overnight. So that was a pretty heavy one. And then earlier in the month, so that was April 20, and earlier in the month, April the 4th, there was 77 millimeters. So that was not far behind. And funnily enough, I just happened to go to the BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology website, because I was just interested I thought I might compare what Mum's chart is as opposed to what their chart is, because they take it in a slightly different place, obviously, not our backyard. They take it at the airport. And I just noticed that the whole month, there's readings on every day except for those 2 really heavy days. That's completely blank, which is just strange. And then it's like, because you would think that heavy rain would be something that they would want to promote because it would be part of it's climate change, but for some reason, those 2 particular days, outstandingly heavy days, have been left blank. So the average for the month is 50 millimeters, whereas it actually should be about 100, about 200. Big difference.
Did you hear that Dubai got 10 inches of
Yes.
rain?
Yes.
When they got it like overnight, not overnight, but like in a day or two. I think just one day.
Yeah.
And that's double their annual average.
Yes, I'm actually talking to a fella in the Climate Viewer group on Telegram. There's a fella in there, Jeff. Shout out, Jeff, if you happen to hear this. We're actually going to do a little bit of a recording later this week about that exact topic, because there's some discrepancies. It's not. I don't want to sort of be a spoiler, so I'm not going to. But there's some very interesting information which I thought was worth noting. So we're going to record that. Maybe I'll bring it next Sunday.
Cool. Well, I do have 2 little things. Now that we're rolling a little bit, we lost our special guests, but that doesn't mean we have to stop so fast. This Dubai thing, I did figure this was forum worthy. We may need to come back to it, but we'll tease it a little bit.
Several inches of rain falling over the United Arab Emirates, prompting flight cancellations at the second busiest airport in the world, school shutdowns, and traffic at a standstill. Some amazing flooding conditions there. Bonnie Quinn has had a front row seat to it. We go out to her in Dubai for an update on what's happening. Bonnie.
Will remain, as you can see right behind me, this is part of the DIFC complex within Dubai, which is its own self-regulated complex of financial institutions. We're talking about more than 50 hedge funds, more than 200 banks based here, more than 100 insurance companies and 350 wealth managers. All told, more than 41,000 people work here on a daily basis. That was impacted, as you can see today. Dubai is not a walking city. It is very much a city that runs on taxis, Ubers, and driving. Public transportation fairly limited in Dubai. Within a few hours of this rain starting, you can see what happened. Cars were abandoned everywhere. I'm looking down from the 34th floor of a hotel room. Cars are abandoned outside right now. The cars that are managing to make it through are being guided through by emergency vehicles, and it really is a sight to see. Dubai every now and then gets these large rainfalls. However, infrastructurally, it's not quite able to manage them. It doesn't have the drainage, although it needs the rainfall for extra water security.
We're here in Santa Barbara County, home to one of the longest running cloud seeding operations in the country. We've got some ground-based cloud seeding equipment right here, and we're going to get to hear all about how it works and see it in action. Let's check it out. Cloud seeding is the most common type of weather modification, and it has many different techniques and applications. Today, it's mostly used to increase rain and snowfall, reduce the size of hail, and reduce fog at airports.
Traditionally, cloud seeding has been done from the air. So airplanes have had racks on them where these same flares are positioned on the airplane, and the airplane flies into the storm. So in order to reduce the cost to the client and reduce our carbon footprint, we've been able to station these on the ground. Now, we can do this in places where weather permits.
Behind a barbed wire fence designed to keep away curious cattle, the cloud seeding gear awaits the right kind of weather.
So these are referred to as AHOGs. That stands for Automated High Output Ground Seeding Systems. We've got 3 primary components of our equipment here. The first is the control module that you see behind me. Then we have our actual cloud seeding flares. The cameras for security. It also helps us observe weather conditions in real time and make sure that all of the equipment is operating correctly during a storm. Inside these canisters are the flares with the seeding agents. The canisters are used as spark arresters, so they prevent sparks from reaching the ground. So we pull off the spark arrestor, you can see the flare inside. The ignition of the flares are controlled from a control module that's behind us. So the white triangle there is a cell service modem, and then the solar panel keeps us powered. Inside we have a battery and then a control board. So the control board interacts with the software We're linked or synced with software in Utah currently, and that allows us to fire or ignite any of the flares from that remote location.
Because of the lack of clouds and proper wind conditions, today is not a good day for cloud seeding at all. But Garrett and his team are going to light a flare for us anyway, so we can show you how it works. There's just one small problem. The battery in the control module died shortly before we arrived, but it's nothing a little jump start can't fix. After a little juice from Garrett's truck, it's time to set off the flare.
The primary seeding agent in this is silver iodide. Silver iodide is a simple compound. It's polar in nature like water, so there's chemical properties that help attract water molecules to silver iodide. It's also structured molecularly similar to ice. So it helps generate or helps spawn the generation of ice buildup, and then that becomes a hailstone or a snowflake that falls here primarily as rain. So one flare like this has billions and billions of potential sites for that water to congregate around. We'll launch them in sequences. We watch the radar to see when bands of the highest concentration of liquid water are passing above us in the clouds, and we try to target those high concentration pockets in the storm systems. We'll launch between 3 and 20 flares for a typical storm. Once the flare is lit, it takes a little bit of time to carry up into the clouds. And once it's up at the proper elevation, it'll take about 20 minutes to instigate the rain or the snow process. So overall, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes before you're seeing the maximum result. And that's why we're stationed miles away from our target area. So we have very specific targets that drain directly into major water basins, and we time these events to correlate with rain above those intended targets. One of the biggest questions or most common questions that we receive relates to the safety of silver iodide. Silver is biologically inert, so it will not interact in a negative fashion with plant or animal life. Iodine is actually a critical building block of a number of hormones in animals, so it is safe as well. In fact, if you look at table salt or baby formula, you'll see iodine in its molecular form as an additive in those commonly consumed substances.
But what about other potential adverse effects? Could cloud seeding affect communities outside the targeted areas?
Sometimes there is a concern about robbing Peter to pay Paul. So are we benefiting California at the expense of Nevada? And the truth is that storm systems, when they move over off the coastline, only about 10% of that moisture is going to fall in the form of precip. And we're looking at increasing that to about 11% because we have about a 10% increase in the natural storm's productivity. So going from 10% to 11% in California has an insignificant impact on the amount of precip that will still be available in Nevada or Utah.
Built into the program are kind of checks to make sure that we don't come across anything negative. When there are high intensity storms, we won't seed. If the reservoirs are full, we won't seed. If the rivers are flowing a lot, maybe near flood capacity, we won't seed.
We hope that the conditions that exist right now will turn around and that we will not face the severity of droughts that we're facing, particularly this year. But a number of scientific articles are suggesting otherwise. And as we look into the future, we need to again consider conservation first. So the ability for us is to conserve how we use water and the ways that we store the water, and then layer on that efforts like weather modification and cloud seeding to help increase the rainfall that we do receive. It's very important that we take advantage of every opportunity we have to generate water in a sustainable way.
Anybody who's interested in learning more about cloud seeding, I've got links to scientific studies and official reports down in the description.
I mean, that's they're doing it. They're doing it.
They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And who's to say, oh, yeah, we're not going to seed when a big storm's coming? Well, okay, what if some other motherfucker does? Because you're making it look real goddamn easy. You know, what if you take a storm that's not so bad and make it real bad right over the biggest hub of financial institutions in the fucking world just for kicks? I don't know.
This is the thing, like anyone who sort of knows a little bit about what they're doing can build an ion generator. There's farmers all around the place that have their own little ion generators that are trying to, just doing it on a small scale above their own farms and everything. But the thing that gets me is with these people, it's the obnoxious sort of, they're so confident about this mostly ambiguous science. They can't even prove that what they're doing creates a certain effect. Like they've been doing the geoengineering in Dubai and Oman for years, like 2016, I think they sort of started. AustralianRain.com.au has got a bit of information about it. Australian company that was conducting those tests quite successfully. They say that they managed to increase, they can pretty much say that they've increased rain output by up to 25% over these things. And yet then you read other things when it suits them to say, oh, look, we really don't know whether we can't prove that it's been effective or anything. So it's like whatever the narrative is at the time is how effective it is. It just depends who they're talking to. But there's all sorts of things going on at the time. There's a bunch of lawsuits going on at the moment as well, but that's all about the wording, the power of words. The particular word that is in question is intentional geoengineering. So, there's another thing to have to prove. What does that word exactly mean? What did it mean in this context? Blah, blah, blah. Those ambiguous sort of court situations that will arise. And who's to say that, if this state stops doing something, the next state over might not be. So they're going to be affected. There's already been several situations globally where, some countries are saying, hey, don't steal our rain, basically. Don't take our moisture, whatever. It could have turned into weather wars. There's a lot of businesses rising up all over the globe because it's a huge moneymaker. It's relatively low cost to produce, to bring in quite a lot of money from clients for their effect. So there's a lot of them popping up. Silent starters, I think it was called. Silent startups, where they don't really have to sort of claim what they're doing. It's some kind of like bureaucracy or something, some sort of category of new businesses where they
Yeah,
don't
that's
actually have to.
the
What was it?
craziest shit about this is that it's like all these tech startups. They're like, oh, we're a
Right,
tech
right.
startup. That's funny. When
Mm.
you had was it Mike Lee, the guy that you
Jim
were
Lee,
talking to
yeah.
with Jim Lee. Okay, he kept mentioning something, and we've mentioned this on the forum months and months and months ago. I know the guy from Make Sunsets,
Mhm.
and the guy's a
Mhm.
fucking menace. The guy is like, he was a
Mhm.
menace to the pedicab industry in Austin, and now he's a menace to this fucking climate science nonsense. And all he's out is for fucking money, like
Mhm.
like he used to steal fucking stop signs to build janky trailer cabs because I mean he was a solid welder, but you know a lot of times he would just get shit together and deal with the consequences later, and that's what he's
Right.
gonna do with the fucking you know spraying shit into the fucking air. I'm glad he's kicked out of Mexico, but he he's probably gonna have a better, easier time doing this shit in fucking in the United States with the entire regime behind him.
Yeah, these people are psychopathic narcissists, most of them, they're just right into the playing God thing. They think
Oh,
they know what they're doing, and they
let's say
don't.
it real quick. By the way, that's Luke Eisman, and fuck you, Luke Eisman.
Yeah, fuck you, Luke
I
Eisman.
knew our fraud like I knew you were a fraud whenever we were pedicabbers. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself.
Yep.
So
Eat shit.
YouTube is, keep in mind, this is algorithm. I have not prepped, but there are a few short clips about did cloud seeding
Mm.
cause the floods? And I'm curious. Okay, this is the first video.
Also, just before we
Yeah.
move on, the silver iodide thing, the jury's very much out on that because it depends where you go and what you read, but we're sort of talking about that in the Telegram chat at the moment. Shout out to Ed. He brought up a pretty good he brings up lots of documents and things. Some of them they're just too much for me. I just look at it too sciencey, but you get the general gist. But the more simplest explanation is, silver iodide is really not that good for you. I mean, all this stuff that they're spraying up into the air, it's not naturally there.
No.
And it's ending up in the waterways as well.
Well, and he was really condescending about like, there's iodine in salt. Like,
yeah,
well, you're trying to dumb down
they
chemistry.
add it.
You're trying to dumb down, because guess what? Things can interact and react, and molecules can form from various other, compounds can form from molecules, is what I'm trying to say. So you start spraying molecules of whatever, and it's going to interact with water in one of many ways, perhaps, or whatever else is in the sky that, who knows? Maybe they're spraying shit from the planes to maybe that's the war that nobody knows about. It's like cloud seeding versus fucking chemtrails. I don't know.
Yeah, there's very different. Well, they're sort of not really different.
Aren't they the same thing?
Well,
pretty much.
I'm saying, who knows? There could be many things that are being sprayed that are interacting, but it could be whatever.
The trouble is, the public perception is that people look up and they see these lines and they just think, oh, they're spraying us like bugs. It's like, well, no, that's not actually quite what's happening. But so people should probably spend a bit of time listening to people like Jim Lee. Well, not people like Jim Lee, listening to Jim Lee, because he does have he has been at this for a long time. He's got the receipts. He's sorted things out from the non-fear-mongery angle, unlike some other people. So if you do really want to know about stuff, go and learn the things, because since I've been learning a bit more, like it's still not a great situation, but I'm not quite as angry about the skies anymore. Like I can look up and just go, kind of need to do something about that. But it's not like they're just, spraying us. In some places, occasionally when they're doing a project, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the everyday stuff is just basically, just trails from jet fuel in the right conditions so you can see them. But I mean, it's always there anyway. But then you've got the cover that block the sun, intentional type. That's fairly obvious to see too, as well. Because
I mean, they talk about it. They talk about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know it is crazy, and like they're doing the cloud brightening things over the Great Barrier Reef, which 2024, there was just very recently a report come out saying the Great Barrier Reef is in good shape. It's fine. It's naturally, it's all natural cycles that have been happening, because you probably heard about the big bleaching, the massive bleaching, and that was all part of the whole climate. What was it at that point? Was it climate cooling or something? Whatever suited them at the time.
Global warming, I thought.
Ice Age. I don't know. It's all one thing this week, something else next week. But anyway,
up until the mid '80s or so, they thought that everything was going to go to another ice age. We're still in an ice age, by the way. So
on the tail end, I think.
Yeah. But we're still in an ice age, and so these people are fucking insane. Yeah,
they are insane. So they're doing this cloud brightening over the Great Barrier Reef, and the fact is they just don't need to be doing it, because there's just nothing wrong with the Great Barrier Reef. It's fine. And even so, I just did a very recent look, like in the last few days after that report came out. I don't know, a month or two ago. And again on the news, the Great Barrier Reef is in dire trouble. The Great Bleaching, blah 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 blah. They're still at it, even though there's just been this report come out, which obviously none of the MSM talked about. So it's just so blatant. It's so blatant, and it's just freaking money laundering, basically. There's a lot of money involved, and
it's playing God.
It is,
and it's funny
control.
Because because a lot of times it's like, okay, you're praying for rain, or you're trying to fuck with the natural order of things, and okay, cool, we'll give you some rain. Soak it up, Dubai.
So anyway, I'm going to be talking to Jeff about his theory about this, because he's he has some counter information or counter observations is a better way to put it. He really reads maps very well, and all the the weather apps and things that tell him at all the different heights and everything. He understands what's meant to happen at different heights with different moisture levels and all that sort of thing. So he's basically interprets it, what he's seeing in the charts. I tend to listen to him.
Cool.
So it will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the algo's kind of serving up here. One short one and one slightly longer.
That's 50% more than the annual.
Okay, here we go.
Parts of the United Arab Emirates were overwhelmed with the heaviest rain ever recorded there. Areas are still flooded days later. Some reports blamed a method of making rain called cloud seeding. The rains began late Monday. 24 hours later, more than 142 millimeters had fallen. That's 50% more than the annual average.
It was absolutely horrendous. It's the worst I've ever seen it in Dubai. And we've seen some bad storms in the past, but this was like nothing else.
The United Arab Emirates has, in recent years, explored using cloud seeding to make rain. It's called cloud seeding because planes, drones, or rockets seed clouds with substances like silver iodide. The iodide attracts water molecules, which build up. When they get heavy enough, they fall, as rain or snow, depending on the temperature. Drones can also electrically charge clouds with lasers. Many countries, including Canada, use it to increase precipitation, maybe to fight wildfires or drought, or to reduce damaging hail. But despite being invented more than 80 years ago, it's hard to track if cloud seeding helps.
The challenge is partly because no two clouds are the same. And so you can't compare what a cloud might have done before you seeded it with what it did do after you seeded it.
Experts say 3 storm fronts forming into one are the most likely causes in Dubai, not cloud seeding. The Dubai International Airport is the world's busiest for international travel. As of Wednesday, parts of it remain flooded. Staff say recovery will take time.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to, remember when Australia had those heavy fires just before, was it just before California or just after? Either way, they were all very heavy fires, unusual. Why didn't they use it then? He just claimed they can use it for fires, wildfires. It's like, okay, well, when are you going to do that? I don't know. I mean, the conditions have to be right. You can't just go up there and do whatever you want, whenever you want. The conditions have to be there to seed, so to speak. It's not like just magic.
Yeah. They're actively doing it, though, in the Arab Emirates. This was just posted 2 months ago.
They're certainly normalizing it.
Yeah.
Deserts of the United Arab Emirates, there are huge areas of greenery emerging amidst the golden sands. This transformation is not some natural phenomenon, but it's by design. It's called desert greening. And for all the UAE's opulence, this may be its most valuable investment yet. The United Nations estimated that by 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living with absolute water scarcity.
If you don't have water for people, animals, plant communities, as a nation, you will really struggle, especially in desert countries. Increasingly, lack of water due to climate change is resulting in less secure water.
And the Middle East is home to 12 of the 17 world's most water-stressed countries. The UAE receives less than 200 millimeters of rainfall each year. To put that into context, London soaked up an average of 1,051 millimeters of rain in 2022. While Singapore drenched in a whopping 3,012 millimeters during the same year. So as one can imagine, ensuring enough water for the UAE's population is a real challenge. To continue to support its increasing development and growing population, the UAE government invested more than $20 million in research to start a process called cloud seeding.
Cloud seeding enhances the rain in the cloud. The main objective of that to increase the storage of the groundwater. It was a direct order from His Highness Sheikh Mansour.
When did this start?
It was late 2000 and early 2001. We were partner with the National Atmospheric Research in the United States.
The entire Gulf region could face a 50% reduction in water availability per capita by 2050. The UAE has tried to combat desertification, which is land that is no longer productive because it can't support plant growth.
Okay, I'm pausing because I just want to make sure everybody heard. That guy said in partnership with the United States. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's in on it.
just to be clear.
Yeah. It's interesting because
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I was just going to say when I was in Egypt, which was late 80s. It was I got lots of photos of it. It was so interesting how you just have desert and then all of a sudden there'd just be green. And it's like, well, that's pretty amazing. They've done all that. I don't know whether they were using cloud seeding. So it's all quite possible to do it without cloud seeding is my point. They were able to do it in the desert there. So
I know of a permaculture documentary that's called Greening the Desert, but it's got nothing to do with fucking with the atmosphere, man. You know, like yeah.
It's so obnoxious, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I still am beside myself trying to believe that this is actually a thing. Like, it would be laughable if it wasn't so damn serious.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
they've
crazy.
been doing it. They've been doing it for a while. He said we started in
they have.
2001.
Well, they have been. I mean, they've been doing it since the 1940s as far as like cloud seeding goes.
Yeah,
They were doing it in Australia in the early 50s. My mum used to watch the planes over her property.
Well, let's carry on a little longer.
Emirates spans over 83,000 square kilometers, and around 80% is desert. It's estimated that 75% of our planet's land is already degraded. These lands have become deserts or are uninhabitable. About 12 million hectares of land is lost around the world each year as a direct consequence of drought and desertification. The World Bank estimates the Emirates has lost almost 33,000 hectares of land from 2002 to 2018.
So the decrease in arable land is primarily due to land degradation. So this impacts over 3 billion people. And people that live in desert and dry land ecosystems that cover nearly half of the globe are particularly vulnerable to the loss of arable land and land degradation.
But in the last 50 years, what was once a large desert and a tranquil fishing port has evolved into an urban metropolis. Long before skyscrapers and bustling cities, the UAE had a history of planting trees in areas that lacked them, a process called afforestation.
What we're seeing across the world, and especially some of the countries that have significant desert systems, is efforts to green the desert, which means bringing in trees, other plant communities to increase, as the initiatives say, the greenness of the deserts.
Take a look at these satellite images of the UAE in the 1980s and present day. The country's late president sought to provide permanent homes for nomadic Bedouins in the parched desert. His dreams set the stage for a nation's ambitious endeavor, and their leaders knew that trees could help with the fight against desertification. About 2 decades ago, the 1 Million Trees Initiative was announced by the ruler of Dubai. The plan was to plant 250,000 trees every year in collaboration with the Dubai Police Academy. It wasn't long before groves of olives, palms, and the Brazilian ghafs, the national tree of the UAE, painted the once empty land with life.
When you are planting some of those trees,
Pausing again. Isn't it funny we always come back to gardens and gardening? This dude's just watering his lawn.
Somehow.
He's just paying a shit fuck ton of money to water his lawn.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It kind of is. I am,
because considering it was probably like that many eons ago, it probably hasn't always been desert. So perhaps it's just being returned.
Well, I think there's something to the whole like over farming leads to desertification. The Fertile Crescent is now a desert. So yeah, poor land management, bad gardening is to blame. You know, like
it's usually because of the economy too. It's monoculture because they want to cram too much out all at once to make money. So it's the love of money is the root of all evil yet again.
Yep.
I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if we all return to, like, even if we just fed our families 50%, like every single person, and I'm not talking about laws, but every single person chose to have a garden that produced. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? And I mean, stating the obvious, I know, but
well, you might
it's
actually
doable.
wake from your slumber with proper nutrition in your belly, and and then you won't be so easily controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Let's carry on.
You can dig different holes to capture water and engineer the landscape so those trees that you're bringing in will be able to survive. And so that's critically important, is that it's not only the types of trees that you're bringing in or the types of plants you're bringing in for these afforestation projects, but also how you engineer the landscape to be able to receive those plants and that they are able to survive.
Okay, like I like everything so far that she's talking. I like everything about greening the desert. I like changing the landscape. It's called making swales. It's called permaculture. It's called slowing and spreading out the rainfall. Again, where you lose me is fucking with the fucking clouds.
Yeah.
A tree nursery for the 1 million trees in.
Sorry, I'm trying to get through the clip, but if you have, sorry,
No,
Stella.
I was just going, yeah.
Cool. And
fucking with the clouds is, I don't know. It's I guess it really depends on how you fuck with the clouds, right?
yeah, maybe it's harmless, but like I don't know. I'm just very skeptical,
Well,
man.
I think that
there's better ways.
I know that fucking with the clouds has been around for like almost 100 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, and the concept was like late 1800s, really, if you want to take it right back to just the concept and the very, very first raw sort of experiments. But yeah, I mean,
about
I can
130 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like we've had a lot of rain just recently, and it's amazing. The garden, I just wish I'd taken more advantage of it. I was too busy with other things. I kind of got a bit slack in the garden, and you should see the things that are there. They're just raging. It looks so amazing, and like lemongrass is like a huge bush now. I can't do that when in our dry periods between, like, we had a month almost with hardly any rain, carrying the water cans around, and they just get a bit of a drink all at once. It's just, you can't. It's not the same. So, it's hard to sort of replicate
the water out of the
nature.
pipes. It's not energized the way rainfall is. No, plants.
Exactly.
It's amazing how they grow after rain.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And the nutrients and everything, they've gone through pipes and all that stuff. So maybe the chemical has changed. People even talk about things like the right angles, water traveling through right angles, which is really unnatural. I don't know how much validity there is in those things, but it's certainly interesting.
Yeah.
Different structure, and it's like the structure. That is it, isn't it? It's the structure. It's not natural. Even if they're creating rain, it's not natural because they created it or they made it happen when it wasn't going to happen. Perhaps they can't even prove that.
I don't give a fuck about CERN. I'm thinking H2O. It's not a particle, but that's the God. That's the God molecule.
Like it really all boils down to water.
Yeah,
it's water.
We're nothing without water. Yeah.
Which is why this is really interesting, actually. Yeah.
They do their best to poison it above us with the silver iodide, and then they do their best to poison below us with the gas fracking and all that.
They don't use silver iodide anymore. Silver was probably fine. Silver's got a lot of cleansing properties. Silver's great. And no, they're using some nasty, nasty salt shit now. So, yeah. They used to use silver iodide back in the day. Whenever they caused that ridiculous downpour in Vietnam during the Operation Popeye, and it turned out to be to their disadvantage, not advantage. So,
I think that got a little out of hand. I think.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that worked. A little too well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. Well, that's this kind of thing is just begging for mistakes,
isn't it? Yeah. What could possibly go wrong here?
Well,
right.
This is the whole thing. This is everything. Man trying to play God.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
And like when we do that, what happens? What happened?
Yeah, it's like man is so.
Every single time, though. I mean, like the Tower of Babel.
Mm.
You know, like that was built.
Speaking of which, I mean I was thinking that tower in Dubai is so
Yeah.
like, what is up, man? That is something. Somebody's trying to tap into the fucking electromagnetic field. I'm figuring.
It's all gold, a lot of it.
Yeah, is it?
That building, yeah, like the inside is, you know, I think the people like you and I can only sort of go to the foyer, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Most people can't go to the rest of the building, but yeah, there's lots of gold leaf paint and gold.
So
Yeah,
it's
gold.
highly conductive.
Conductive, yep.
Yeah.
And all this water.
So whenever it comes down to the transhumanist agenda, whether it be like some sick furry that we talked about just not too long ago, or you know, somebody that's trying to seed the clouds or whatever, know that they're seeking the authority of God. That's what they're trying to do, and they will be knocked down.
Yep.
Every single one of them will be knocked down. What's unfortunate is all of us sitting down here, you know, around it,
Getting pissed on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Letting our gardens get all muddy right in the middle of a project when he's trying to fucking make some fucking money, man. I hate
So it's just when you lay a slab or something.
Yeah, right. It was right after I dug up all the grass. They weren't even calling for that kind of rain, and then there it was.
Oh, doesn't that happen a lot?
Yeah. Well, I've often thought, I'm like, I feel like the weatherman was more accurate when I was a kid.
100%.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes made with equipment and everything over time as well. Like, I can only speak for Australia because I haven't studied you guys, but well, the Bureau of Meteorology, basically, where they've placed all the different places where they take, you know, temperatures and rain and all that sort of stuff, those little informational centers over decades. You know, they were a certain size box and what have you. And then I can't remember exactly when they did it. I won't even try to guess. Not all, a couple of decades ago, a few maybe. They replaced all this equipment with smaller equipment. So it's not the same kind of readings. Like the readings, like in the physics of the readings, are different. And that has changed. You know, it's changed the whole truth of the readings. Basically, they've also gone through, as I think I said to you last week or maybe the week before, that they've actually gone through and changed, like averaged things and changed actual statistics, historical records. NOAA, NOAA, have changed all that to suit the narrative. So there's no doubt when you know these things that are going on in the background, there's no chance that that it's not a nefarious agenda. It definitely is. There's no conspiracy here. It's just that information doesn't generally get out.
That's what I find astonishing. It's like so obvious and just in the open.
Yeah.
And yet if you tell someone, they'll say, "No, I don't think that's true." Well, no. This is happening, man. It's happening. Let's finish this out real quick and go from there.
Initiative was created spanning more than 130,000 square meters, but challenges loomed large over green dreams. Behold, Mall of the World, a mega shopping center project. It was said that Dubai Holding, the investment vehicle of the Emirates ruler, would require $6.8 billion to build that entertainment district. Could you guess where they wanted to build this mega project? None other than the very land the tree nursery once thrived. And just like that, the project fell through and thousands of trees withered away and died. But in January 2015, the UAE cabinet approved the UAE Green Agenda for 2030, aimed at building a green economy.
Plants are this miracle worker in terms of pulling carbon dioxide. So you see a lot of engineering approaches to think about how we pull greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere, but plants by themselves are one of the best tools that we have.
The UAE is not alone in its quest to green the desert. Other countries like China have followed the same path, as seen in a desert called Kubuchi, in the country's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. In 1988, a Chinese company partnered with the Beijing government to build solar farms and other renewable energy projects. 3 decades later, and 1/3 of Kubuchi is green, preventing dunes from encroaching on farms. The United Nations Environment Program estimated the Kubuchi project cost $1.8 billion over 50 years. Beijing is a proponent of cloud seeding technology. They used it to manipulate weather, to protect farming areas, and to guarantee clear skies for key events. The UAE performs around 1,000 hours of cloud seeding to enhance rainfall in just 1 year, and it's all controlled in this building, the National Center of Meteorology in Abu Dhabi, where they track the whole process. We met with a cloud seeding expert to explain how the seeding process works.
We wait the forecast when we have a good, chance for a cloud. We send the aircraft to that location. Go under the cloud. In the first stage of the cloud, there is good updraft at that time. Start to release all the salt, and with the good updraft, of course, it will go inside the cloud and start to condensate, and the droplets will become bigger and start to rain.
The center manufactures a salt substance that helps enhance rainfall. They put them in what they call flares.
Operation 219.
We also spoke to one of the weather forecasters. He explains how the operations work.
We align our pilots to be on the airports and tell them when to be at the airport. So as expected, we wait for the clouds to appear on the radar, and there we have our pilots talking to us.
Can we just pause it for a sec?
Let me know if there is any.
I just sort of had this thought when I was watching that. This guy, he's sitting there, he's the weather guy, basically operating this stuff. He sort of looks like a wizardy, doesn't he?
Well, the UAE, they wear this stuff.
Oh yeah, I know.
Is it like
Galabaya? I think they're called.
Yeah, what is it? I was gonna say like chic culture or whatever. Like, or there's some. It's not like
shake.
Shake.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Islam or is it something else?
Pretty sure it's Islam. Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay, but it's like
sure.
unique.
I don't know.
I'm
not 100% sure. I should know.
Well, I don't really know anything about it. It's definitely like an Arab thing, but like
Arabs are Muslim. Yeah, they are. They're Muslims.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay.
They do their praying and
It's a get up
several times a day. A Galabaya, I think it's called, unless that might be insulting. Sorry if I'm wrong. To any Arabs that may be tuned in and watching. I just remember from Egypt, it's sort of like you sort of think, why would you be wearing this on these hot deserty places? But they're actually quite cool to wear. So
I was gonna say the white garb actually makes a lot of sense. It reflects sunlight and it's light. It looks like light linen.
Very light cotton.
Yeah.
Very nice. Nice cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Egyptian cotton.
I would bet. Maybe so. I should say we lost Ando there. I think he had to bounce. So, and we also lost Jared way back. We didn't quite acknowledge, but check out Limited Supply Designs on Twitter and Instagram. And Ando, as always, burn Babylon, burn. And we've got just a minute or two of this, but it's just fascinating to me that they're so bold. They're so bold.
Yes.
Let me know if there is any updrafts in your area.
This is a sample plane here at the National Center of Meteorology, but the real planes fly out from the runways in Al Ain.
We have around 110 automatic weather stations that give us data, like meteorological data, every 15 minutes.
The information on the screen tracks wind, speed, and direction, while satellite imagery monitors clouds to track fog and dust.
Anything passing over the country, we can see it from the satellite, especially like the clouds.
And this is the map of the UAE. But is the UAE seeing results from their efforts over the years to create a greener country?
So we have different ways of either increase the water or save the water. We have, the desalination. We have using a plantation that doesn't take much water. There are many ways. One of the way is cloud seeding.
Is there any success in terms of more greenery around the UAE because of cloud seeding efforts?
So UAE is expanding in the agriculture, and also we were expanding too much before. We have to do a plantation with study. Plantation costs a lot of water. We can control this water and not to use it as a waste.
According to the World Bank, climate-related water scarcity will cost the region up to 6% of their GDP by 2050.
As we green landscapes, this results in healthier people, not only healthier landscapes. Greening landscapes impacts the well-being, the mental health of people, the physical health of people in terms of air that they're breathing.
In a region expected to be most impacted by warming temperatures, the time has never been more important than now to find alternative ways of maintaining life in the desert.
There you go.
Yeah, if they call you a liar, just send them to the WTF Forum. No, I mean, it's just there's no denying they have the power and they're using it, And
They
it's so
certainly are.
silly. It's silly because like permaculture, man, like you're just over engineering something that was invented by a couple of smart guys from Australia.
Yes, apparently.
Yeah, Bill Mollison?
No,
Oh, you should do some reading.
I should.
Yeah.
What's his
he's
name?
The godfather, I guess you would say, or the founder of permaculture, Bill Mollison.
Oh, okay. There's the other fella that lives just up the road from me.
Jeff Lawton. He was
Jeff Lawton, yes.
a protege. Yeah. Yeah. Permaculture is just a design template made up by an Australian guy that makes it very easy to conserve every drop of water on a landscape and grow as much fucking food and foliage as possible. Like, it's very simple. And
It's all very symbiotic, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's very comprehensive and at the same time philosophical. And that's why people sometimes don't even know, even if they have heard the term, they're like, they've got an idea of what it is, but no, it's a design system. And it takes a while to wrap your head around, but like it's very common sense once you kind of get it. And it really is. It starts with shaping the land and then tending the land and the plants and the animals. And it's not that complicated. It's just comprehensive. It's like
based on the way nature works, really, isn't it? So.
Yeah. For example, right? You'll get a kick out of this, right? I think the listeners are going to appreciate this. I know we're winding on down. The energies are slowing down, but this is what I've been doing the last few days is permaculture. And like I said, I dug up my sister's lawn, in essence. And I was told, that they really had trepidation because they had put a lot of money into their lawn, getting it established, a new home, new construction, they graded out the entire area. I wish I'd been their consultant. I could have helped them grade it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Whoever did it, it's not bad. But anywho, so I tear up their grass and then all this rain comes down and I see that I tore up the grass perfectly. If you catch my drift, I have allowed the water basically to spread out and to infiltrate.
Nice going, because I don't think people realize how important water directing actually is until it becomes a pain in the butt for them. And then it's like, I need to move that little bit of dirt right there, and that's going to make all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, but so after the whole process, right? Oh, I don't even know. I feel like I had a point that I've kind of
Oh,
lost, but
sorry, mate.
no, it's okay. It's not your fault. I was gonna say, like, I kind of left my sister and my brother-in-law and their kids with the last like 5% of the project because the budget was used up, and so was my time, and I'm like, you can do it, right? Here's the keys. Go drive the car. And I don't know, like it really is all about land, I guess. I did lose my point somewhere in there, but it's all
Are you
about
saying that
land.
you sort of made it easy and everything, gave them the keys, and then they didn't get in the car for a while?
Oh, no.
And it
I
kind of got
just finished.
overgrown or anything?
I
No?
just finished yesterday. They only have taken it for a
Oh, I
test
see, right.
drive.
Okay, got it.
No. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I had to explain to my sister, like, oh, here's the point. Thank you. It's a process. And when I say it's not complicated, but it's comprehensive, it's like so many people go from step A to step, K.
Mm-hmm.
And they skip B, C, D, E, F, G, and land and water and resources and food. There's a reason, I say it over and over. Guns and gardens, man. Guns and gardens. What else really matters? That's what nations are basically built on.
That is very true. I can't think of anything else. I mean, obviously family, but in a material sense, guns and gardens it's the bomb.
Pardon me. Yeah.
If you're allowed to say that.
Is the what?
Bomb.
The bomb. Yeah. Don't say it on a plane, but I think you're good here.
Right,
yeah. No, it is. I mean, it's actually really cool. I'll say this, because I think my family's coming around. They're getting guns and they're getting gardens.
Good things come to those who wait. I keep getting this over and over. And it's like, it's so true. Just little investments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Not the bull in the china shop.
Yeah, it always drives me crazy when people just like buy a bunch of plants and just plop them in the ground and then are like, why isn't it growing?
Yeah.
It's like
they're all dead in a fortnight.
Yeah. It's like, well, you kind of just half-assed it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You live and learn. You've got to do it the hard way or you don't live and learn.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody else just comes along and says, here you go, I'll do it for you. I'll give me that. I'll do that. It's like, you just never figure it out. You got to go through all this crap and waste a crap load of money and time to actually get it through our thick heads sometimes.
So many people waste a lot of money on all kinds of projects around their properties. Hire a gardener to teach you. That's the problem. Not many gardeners are teaching gardeners, which is what I try to be. But yeah, no, it was funny. That was the joke. I'm like, Linz, I could give you a fish. Lindsay, that's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
I could give you a fish, but I think I'd rather teach you to fish,
Yeah.
As the wise parable says.
The apparent Native American saying.
So that starts with topping it up, finishing what I started. I did the heavy lifting. Now it's your turn. Have a good time.
She needs to bleed.
Yeah, well, it's I left her just to clarify. Like,
go and break a few nails. Go on.
I shared the clip earlier, right? So the sheet mulch, right? The straw and the cardboard. I'm like, y'all are gonna spread the cardboard and the straw. I have brought the straw, and you already have the cardboard. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
It's like it was kind of almost ceremonial, like for me and for them. I'm like, enjoy this. It's a whole space to
I need a
tend,
mic. I need a mic to come around
Wow.
and say, hey, you should do this, and this. I'm happy to do it. Just
I think
need
you
to-
probably know more than you think. You've been gardening, but
a little. I was more of an apprentice, and like this ground is so different. In Tasmania, it was all beautiful and friable and fertile.
yeah, it's
Here, it's
hard.
like this hard friggin'. It's
Mm,
about 4 inches soft, and then it's concrete, and it's all clay.
mm.
You know, I mean, I have an auger and stuff, which I haven't actually used yet. I must do that, but you know, just to like a plant a fruit tree, I'm going to have to like aug it really deep because I've known from the last 2 ones that have died that they seem to get to a certain depth and then they just can't get any lower because the ground's just shit. So then they just die. So, you know, you got to sort of live and learn, but it's a real bummer when like investing money is one thing, but investing all that time is
Yeah,
another because
yeah.
it's, you know, it's so much time wasted. Money, well, you can replace that sort of if to go and do another hour's work or whatever, but time is like you can't get that one back.
Well, you know, one more thing I
Yet.
told my sister. I said, don't fall prey to the sunken cost fallacy. Just because you paid money to get this grass doesn't mean I'm not going to tear it the fuck up.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, fuck grass.
Yeah.
Nah, screw lawns. Get rid of the lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible
Yeah.
stuff. Should all be vegetables everywhere. Every single extra bit of ground should be something beneficial, even herbs,
Well,
whatever.
yeah.
Even some good grasses, native grasses or something.
Yeah. Whatever ground you can manage. That's what I say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I honestly think that humans are meant to be tenders of the plant, you know, of the planet, of the garden, of, you know, of the creation. We are meant to keep our hands in the soil. Everything else, I mean, it's what our anatomy says, and you know that includes hunting as much as it does growing things, right? Like we are such incredible animals, and it's a shame that people don't realize it. You know, part of the reason I had to put up a big fence is because there's a shitload of deer that go right through their backyard, and they kind of live just outside of the suburbs, right? Like right on the edge. So they've got neighbors, but like they've got this big field. And I go, you know, you can't be shooting guns, right? You're kind of in town, but get yourself a crossbow and maybe some night vision. You could eat so fucking good.
Yeah. Nice and silent. The silent hunter.
Oh man, you could take one a month.
Easy. Easy peasy. Yeah, you got to have some pretty heavy fencing with your deer. So I don't envy that for people because that's very expensive. You know,
Well,
it's a bit different to just fencing in a sheep. You know, they're pretty dumb. In fact, even cows, they can jump fences. I'm quite surprising how they can jump. But yeah, deer, whew, that's another thing.
You know, I did a 6-foot fence, and I'm just praying that's enough because deer can jump 6 feet. But
yeah,
based on the layout, I think the deer have other things to eat. There's corn, there's soy, there's it's a big,
maybe that's the key. Plant some shit out on the outside that they quite like and keep them out there.
Yeah.
You know, work with it. That's the thing. We've got to work with things, whereas all this geoengineering crap is domination.
Yeah, totally.
That's, you know, it's not working with the environment at all.
Same with the big ag approach. You know, like permaculture does teach, like observe how the animals move and kind of like fence in a way that they naturally just bypass it instead of like hitting it abruptly and having nowhere else to go. Like give them a path. You know, like that's huge. You fence off the whole property, and they're gonna jump it because they don't know where they're at.
Because that's their natural line of movement or what have you. Do you guys over there in America and even in maybe some places, does your councils or whatever build like overpasses for the wildlife?
Some, yeah.
Or underpass, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I know there's some of that. I don't really know how extensive, but yeah.
Yeah, we get a bit of that here. It's nice, but probably not enough.
Well, the critters often find a path one way or another, but no, deer are a hazard on the road. If we had like some some amount of awareness and, allowance, there are places where they cross a lot.
Right.
And it'd
So
be
they
worth
should do something.
It'd be worth the investment just to save the destruction of property, from semis and cars hitting them at 70 miles an hour,
Yeah. Do
So-
many people die from that, do you reckon? Like, I'm wondering,
yeah.
do more people die from hitting deers or whatever than they do from COVID?
Maybe not. Maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've hit 3 in my day. 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be quite some damage. It'd be like a large kangaroo.
Yeah.
Surprising how
Pretty much.
how damagey they can be.
Oh,
They're just
what-
like a solid little muscle ball that jumps.
Are they like 150, 200 pounds or?
I don't know what a pound is. Kilos.
Kilos.
Come on, metric, man. Come on, metric up.
Hey, no. Imperial all day.
Yeah, we'll always have that war.
Base 12, baby. Base 12.
So much easier. My little brain can only do tens. Anyway, just while we're on the subject, and while I think of it, so anyone who wants to know a little bit more about some real information, go to jimleesclimateviewer.com regarding geoengineering, and also another lady that I have only recently come across, but she's been at this for a long time, Elana Freeland, ELANA Freeland. I'm just sort of reading some of her work at the moment, and she's another fantastic researcher, writer, exposer, whatever, explainer as well. Very good. They're both really good at explaining things and keeping the audience with them so that the audience can understand what they're talking about, not just blah 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 and expecting people to know what they're talking about, So I think that's really good. Also, I think we're sort of wrapping up. Just wanted to say thank you to Laura for coming on the show, and her, I just closed that, damn it. Cleansingthebloodline.com. And that's going to be launched, I believe, in a matter of just a few days. So cleansingthebloodline.com is where you can go for Laura's stuff, and that fabulous serpent seed series that she did. That's not the name of it, but you'll be able to find it. And also thank you again to Monica. Hopefully she'll come back at some stage. I think she enjoyed herself being part of the crew here. That's the MonicaPerezShow.com. She anyone this, I don't have to explain who she is, I'm sure.
Well, you
she's
never know.
become a good friend, which is really lovely. And again, shout out to Jared Endo and Ashley, who is currently being very reggae on the beach in a place called Jamaica, Mun, which is lovely. Shout out to Joe, who was here. He's on a road trip at the moment and making his way out of the inner walls that he's been cooped up in for a long time. And Western Civilization, thanks for joining us. And JC. So, and anyone else who's listening. Always good to have you guys.
Well, it's good to note that not everybody that listens to the show is coming from the internet world. I know people in my personal life who listen and enjoy it, and they would not know who Monica is without us.
Oh, okay.
So we very well may have given Monica some new fans.
Oh yes, do tune into Monica. She has a lovely way of unraveling the ridiculousness of the news and actually putting some sense to it.
She's very upbeat. I like her positive tone.
Yeah.
She always is positive. Yeah.
She is. That's just she's very special in that sense. I would love to be more like that, but she's just has this way of glowing. So MonicaPerezShow.com, you'll be able to find all her outlets from there, all the usual places, YouTube, Rockfin, etc., etc.
Your favorite podcatcher. Yeah. Well, I go. I guess I should probably have the outro ready, and I don't. But here it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Well,
if anyone's still here, we've still got a little people tuning in, unless it's just different devices we all set up prior.
Yep. Always appreciate our listeners and our comments.
Certainly do.
As usual, Mike the Polymath. And you can.
And I appreciate you, and I hope that your balls operation clears up soon.
Whose ball? Oh, what? My
Remember
balls
the intro.
Yeah, well, yeah. But
I was Mike. I got
I
my
already
balls chopped off
explained.
that.
I already explained that I got a dick sewn onto my pussy.
Yeah.
So my balls are fine.
This is a nice way to end.
That included, yeah. No, if you want to check out my shit though, go to ittybitty.easypeasy. No, other way around. Easypeasy.ittybitty.tips. Buy
There it
my
is.
book because it's actually kind of good.
What's your book called again?
It's called Hey Duke 2029, and it's very, very hard to find on Amazon. So just go to easypeasy.ittybitty.tips and you'll find it, no problem. It's right there. Buy my book, and I'll pass it to Stella Q.
Yeah, well, thanks for I appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, and appreciate everyone listening, and appreciate God, and thanks, and pray for world peace. Love you guts.
Amen. Love you guts.